Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room. It's a podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And we may have a secret for you. Twitch is a super spreader. I know you'll hear about it more in just a second. YouTube paying people $500. For what reason? We'll tell you also in just a second. And what are our plans for the next 6 months? What are our goals? We're going to achieve them. I am one of your hosts, Reapz.
Hello, I'm Eljay.
And I'm Nicktacula. Hello, good morning, boys. Hello, listeners, watchers.
Hi.
How you all doing?
Sorry, guys, if you didn't hear during the intro, I've just got this like a tickle in my throat.
Can you
in
taste?
my throat?
Can you taste? Because this morning I woke up and I was like, I'm going to have some, peanut butter. I couldn't really.
Yeah, I just drank a coffee. Didn't taste like anything.
Yeah, it's just water. Yeah.
I've been able
really,
to smell
really odd.
for the past couple of days.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Why?
I did a COVID test and I've got it.
Well, that makes sense.
No, I don't. But we'll get to all of that in a little bit. But first, I will throw it out there. Hey, if you're listening to this and you don't like our faces, so you're on the audio, that's fine. But if you like our faces, throw a comment, maybe like the video, and consider subscribing. And I will throw it out there. We have a question for you today. All right? And I want you to answer this. Okay, boys? This is our question for the day. This is how I'm going to bait engagement moving forward.
Okay, let's do it.
Would you rather, 100 average viewers on Twitch or 100 average viewers on a YouTube live stream? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments which one you would rather. Would you rather have 100 average viewers on Twitch or 100 average viewers on YouTube? I'm talking about, obviously, streams on both. But otherwise, I look forward to reading it. And how have you boys been?
Been doing very well. Reapz, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. You know, it's actually sunny here in Sydney, so it's quite nice. It's been very cold and overcast, but today, a little bit of sun. Yesterday, a little bit of sun. It was nice to go out and touch grass, as it were. So, I've been good. How about you boys?
Actually see a blue sky.
I did see blue sky. Blue sky.
I've been touching too much grass.
Really?
I've been touching too much. For the last 32 days, I have managed to get between 10,000 and 15,000 steps every single day.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then I decided 2 days ago that I was going to go for my very first run, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to scale it up into some healthier activities. So I throw me my $15 joggers that I bought on. I chuck on my shorts that are so short that if I wasn't wearing jocks, you'd see my balls. And I step outside in my big oversized salmon sweatshirt that I used to go running in. Salmon, otherwise known as very light red. And instantly the guy who works on the garden in my complex goes, "Pink jumper, mate. Nice." And I was like, yeah, it is. And I went for a run. And I have been limping for 3 days.
Oh, no. Oh, God. That's the thing about running. It really does do wonders for your knees. Treadmills are great for that reason. They're cushioned. Yeah.
I'm still getting my steps up every day, though. So that's fine.
Yeah.
It just so happens that my thighs are like burning rubber.
Oh,
it
God.
hurts. It hurts to walk because it turns out $15 shoes, not great for you.
No, get good shoes.
Definitely
I would
not.
recommend get good shoes for support.
Eljay's just limping. Someone's like, "Oh God, what happened?" He's like, "I just pulled my hammy from playing sports ball." Yep.
Hey, I'm a pro at sports ball.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
3-pointer.
All right.
Woo.
How dare you?
Try.
But no, it's been good to get a little exercise, get out and about.
That's good.
But also content creation topics, because that's what people care about, right? I have officially done it. I've made the switch to daytime streaming. Whoa!
Let's go.
2 things I've learned from it. I am way more energetic and way more not dead tired when I actually stream in the morning rather than trying to go through all my day of work and then stream at 7:15.
Yeah.
And 2, it's really nice having dinner with your family and your loved ones, or like having the afternoon to go and like catch up with friends you haven't seen in 2.5 years because you've been in lockdown.
Yeah.
So my mental health has improved drastically in about 8 days.
I'm telling you, daytime streaming is great. It's very
Incredible.
good. Yeah.
It's also so fun making fun of Americans and having them in chat. It's so good. We were doing a any animal you can beat in a fight tier list yesterday. And I was like, I would never fuck with a moose. Instantly put it in, they'd kill me.
Yeah.
And everyone in chat was talking about how dangerous moose are, how you shouldn't go to Canada because moose are going to kill you, blah, 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 blah. And I said, guys, for starters, I have anxiety, so I'm never going anywhere near third world countries. And America is far too close to Canada, so I'm not doing it. And all these Americans were like, hey, what are you doing?
They do like being known as third world or near third world.
Like moose are huge. They are huge.
They're massive.
I don't even know what they are. You know what I mean? Like you see them and you're like, it's kind of like a platypus. It feels like they just like somebody got a piece of Play-Doh and they just like, I'll put this there and shape it like that. It doesn't look of this earth when I look at it.
They say that most of when they get to a certain, like when they actually get to grow up, right? A lot of them are like bigger than like a small car.
Right.
But one of the things that like people say is that if you're driving a car in Canada and a moose is on the road, you are better off crashing off-road or crashing into a wall than you are crashing into a moose. Because it won't move, and if it does move, it buckles on top of the car and crushes you.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, let's not go to Canada. Let's not.
No,
let's
it's
not
too
risk
close to
it.
America.
Like go to
You're
Canada,
right.
just don't drive. Just don't drive there.
Just don't go near the moose.
Don't be on the road at all.
Ride a moose. Then if you crash into another moose,
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object is what
I
we're.
think it's called the atom bomb.
Imagine medieval times if instead of horses and they did jousting, they're on moose instead.
Yeah.
There's a really good game called Kingdoms New Lands where you ride like a giant stag that's kind of like looks a little bit like a moose. Honestly, you've just reminded me, and now I have to re-download. Kingdoms New Lands is one of the best games.
I need to see this now.
I've never even.
Now, boys, before we move on to our other topics,
Yes.
I have a surprise for you that I've been teasing for a while now. It's finally arrived. For the audio listeners, we will do our best. I'll do my best to describe
Nick,
these.
Put your balls away. Why have you done that?
the whole
I
screen.
wanted to
Pixelate it.
paint
Pixelate
them
it.
just for you.
We can't show that on YouTube. Only 3 pixels, though, I will admit.
Wow.
They're not as big as I hoped they'd be. It's a little cold this morning.
That's not a moon.
So I had something made for each of us.
Oh.
And it's extremely custom.
Okay.
I had Stream Room mugs made
Merch.
just for us.
Oh my God.
But it gets
goodness me.
better.
Yeah.
Each mug is
goatsies on the backside of it.
Oh,
when
yes.
he spins it around, just assholes being ripped open.
damn it, you guessed.
That's our
Each
demographic.
mug is
yeah.
personalized to each of us. So I'm holding Eljay's. Eljay's on the back says the hot take.
That is phenomenal. Even in red, if you can't, audio listeners, it's all in red. It's kind of like a little bit of cursive. It's very, in your face. I like it.
Might not be coming through.
spicy.
It's actually in pink. Eljay's got a nice pink.
Oh, you got a salmon.
Oh, it
a
suits
salmon.
my jumper.
Yeah. And then I have Reapz's here. Reapz's says
Yeah.
the two take.
Oh, wow. All right, I'm leaving. I'm out.
And that's in red.
It's been real.
Fucking roasted.
And then
Okay. All right.
and then mine in orange says the no take.
Hot take, two take, no take. That's what we should forever be known as.
Yep, that is
That's
so those
so
are our
fucking
beautiful
funny.
mugs. So everyone on YouTube got to see those. And for everyone that doesn't understand any of those, so obviously Eljay makes a lot of hot takes on the podcast. Reapz,
Yes. So
many.
we used to make fun of Reapz a lot because he used to always take 2 or 3 takes to do the intro. And for me, I think it's happened 2 or 3 times where my recording has messed up and Reapz has had to salvage it.
That is peeking behind the curtain there.
Little
but
peek
no,
behind the curtains.
Nick is lying. I do one take, great take, and I do it for the boys. I pretend to screw up. That's just for the laughs,
Yeah,
for the gaffs,
of course, of course.
For the
Which is why
blooper reel.
every time we've done a collab on SSN, Reapz has made sure he edits his own footage. Just
no,
to point that out.
no. What are you talking- No.
Everyone else who I've
Live.
ever collabed with on SSN just sends me the raws of them talking and says, do whatever you want. Reapz always gives me a full edited track and says, here you go. And I always wondered why. I always just didn't understand it, but now I get it.
Nah,
boy.
it's lies. It's lies. Don't listen to Eljay.
Slander.
He's got his hot take. He's lying.
Get
But
excited because
honestly,
I'll give those to you boys at PAX.
2 months. 2 months,
So
boys. Crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I be real
Yeah.
for a second? I am actually back on the fence on if I'm going or not.
Oh no! Because of the
Don't
whole
you dare.
surging cases, or
We have a huge number of surging cases right now, and I know people are going to be like, "I'm so tired of talking about it," but it's like, dude, I've got elderly family I visit.
Yeah.
I got so much shit, right? And it's like, I know that everyone else feels like they gotta get back into it and do their own thing, but like, let's be a little bit dark. But if you look and overlay graphs of new cases and what happens when people catch deadly viruses, it's not great in Australia right now. We're not exactly doing what we should be doing. So I hope I'm going to be there, right? But at the same time, you kind of have to be smart and protective, right? Like you can't risk these things.
You got to do
sometimes.
what's best, definitely, for your health and everything like that. I was just looking at the cases today. People who don't know, in Australia, New South Wales at the moment, we're about 10,000 cases. Over 7 days, we're at like 13,000. So yeah, it's really steadily going up, and hospitals are overrun. So it's good for us to be a little bit cautious at the moment. Hopefully, when winter ends, I say in quotation marks, that maybe we'll see a little bit of it goes down, but who knows? But you're dead on there, Eljay. Look after yourself and your family before going to a con. Yeah. Speaking of cons,
it's also like it's it'd be nice to see you guys, and it'd be nice to meet some of the Aussies who are who are part of my community.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I just want to be 100% confident that I am willing to go.
Yeah.
You don't want to be meeting me if I'm telling everyone to stand back, stand back, stand back. I don't want to be Chris Pratt from fucking Velociraptor movie.
Yeah. Eljay's he's only going to stay in the hotel room, and then you have to show a negative rat test before entering the room to go hang out.
Oh, that was just like my honeymoon. For people that don't get the joke, I was deadly sick.
And go back and listen to that episode. It's a good one. You'll meet Fairy Floss and all the other. Was it Cotton Candy?
Great story.
Good story.
But speaking of cons and viruses, Twitch. Oh boy,
people are upset.
Yeah.
So if anyone hasn't seen the news, Twitch are following the San Diego guidelines that have been put out by the American Health Organization, or whatever they call it over there. And essentially, they're saying that while masks are encouraged, they are in no way enforcing masks. And the outcry from streamers has been pretty damn drastic, to be honest. And I'm surprised. I'm really, really surprised to see how many creators are
vetoing,
upset at this. Yeah. They're all saying, I'm not going anymore. And I'm like, wow.
Well, understandable. I think there's a difference if you're just like a person who goes to TwitchCon because you want to see the sights and the sounds, right? But if you're one of the people that they're putting out front to be like, this is a big creator, you're going to have people coming up to you all day trying to shake your hand, get the photo, meet and greets, all that type of stuff. And you're basically just like a Petri dish at that time, because you're going to have to be like wearing a hazmat suit to even walk through there if there's no mask. And you know that as much as people say that they want to be kind of responsible if they've got COVID, I guarantee you there'll be people there with COVID who know that they have COVID, but they're just like, I feel fine. And, I've already paid the tickets and I got to go. So...
Yeah, and given that it's the first TwitchCon, San Diego, that's happening in 2 years, this year's all the cons are happening, and because there's been nothing the last 2 years, so people are going to be flooding. It is going to be hectic.
Yes. Yeah, I know that. XQC said he's not going. I mean, who knows if that changes, but he's saying that a lot, as you said, a lot of big streamers are basically vetoing at the moment, saying, one, the whole health concerns, and two, that's prime streaming time because people will be busy at TwitchCon not streaming, so I can advance on it and actually get the streams in, which is interesting.
I don't know. I look at it and I go, I wouldn't go. You know what I mean? I'm really hoping PAX comes out and says that they're enforcing masks, even if it's 2 months from now, because I just think it's smarter, especially because they're doing PAX is still happening at the end, just at the tail end of winter in Melbourne, where it's already cold and everything like that. And I just know for a fact that even if we ignore the deadly pandemic we've had for the last 3 years, there's still going to be a huge amount of people just getting sick. Because it's called con flu. It's a whole thing that's been around for the last 10 years of cons, right? When I went to the original PAX, I got con flu, and that was before people did anything. Yeah. Right? And so I know it's going to be rough, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if our listeners or people watching this are going to go, or if they see that as a deterrent if they are going. So please let us know in the comments if you think we're being over dramatic or being dead on the level, whatever you think. I'm interested to know, because I know for us it's a big concern. I have my dad, his partner, they're quite old, and if I contract it, I can't really go see them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's, from Twitch's standpoint as well, it doesn't look the best for them, does it? In terms of, because it's
No.
all about community more so than YouTube. I think that Twitch thrives on community. And if they're saying, yo, you can come, but don't worry about masks to the people that you want to meet, you know, don't worry about them getting sick. It's kind of like, do they have our best interests in heart?
Yeah. It's very, very, very rough in the grand scheme of it, especially because it's America too.
Yeah.
So, right. Like, and this, LJ's hot take.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't like the same in Australia where, yes, our public health system right now is like aggressively over flooded, right? Like that is 100% the fact of it. Every hospital is practically full. But that's also, we aren't being charged $20,000 to stay in a hospital for a few days, right? You know what I mean? And that's not even an aggressive over exaggeration, right? Whereas in the US, I'm going to go to TwitchCon because I spent $500 and I don't want to waste my ticket. Well, okay, well, fuck, dude, enjoy the aggressive bill you're going to have, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think people will. I feel like people wouldn't risk it, but at the same time, I know they will, right? Like,
yeah, I think some people feel kind of invincible. It's like, I can do it. I'm not going to be affected by it. Or the thing of, I've already had COVID and I dealt with it just fine. So if I get COVID again, whatever.
Yeah, it's not a good way. Obviously, the vaccines can help lighten the effect of when you get it, but it's still not good. You want to avoid it as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, the worry is right, and this is what I had to explain to someone the other day. They were like, "Oh, I'm triple vaxxed, so I'm going to be fine." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm triple vaxxed as well." But you know who's not triple vaxxed? The 9-month-old I spend more time with than probably anyone else in my life right now.
Yeah.
Right. And the elderly grandma in my family, who I see every once a month, those people don't have the same ability. So yeah, I get it that 10,000 new cases a day in Queensland isn't a big deal to you guys, like not to you, but
yeah.
But like if I get it, I'll be fine. But the people in my life might not be, and I don't want to be the one passing that around, right? Like, I'm not a super spreader. Twitch can be if they want. But I'm not.
We're thrown under the bus now.
Love Twitch ANZ, by the way.
Yes.
Love Twitch ANZ specifically.
Yes.
They're not the ones making the choices.
No. Good ANZ best.
Please don't rescind my invitation to anything.
No, but it's very good. But I'm thinking of like, okay, say that there is no pandemic at the moment. TwitchCon's on, right? You go to TwitchCon. For you boys, what do you think is the best thing that comes from going to a con? Like, what do you hope? Is it the panels? Is it meeting, other streamers? Is it like meeting your community? What would make you go to TwitchCon to be like, yes, this is just something that I need to experience?
I'm going to go last.
Okay.
Because I need you guys to convince me.
Okay, for sure.
Okay.
Nick, you want to start us off?
So hit me one more time. I was just quickly Googling to answer the question. So PAX is going by the Melbourne Convention Centre. They're going by Victoria guidelines.
Okay.
Considering that a couple of weeks ago went to the MCG and masks were not required, that would lead me to believe that that's going to be the same thing. So they won't be required, but will be encouraged, and everybody's going to have to like.
MCG's outdoors though.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. I mean, you go inside for a little bit technically, but
right.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find the information on the Vic website, but yeah,
they'll tweet about it. PAX will do some sort of tweet. They'll have to do something.
You'd hope so. I think PAX is a responsible organization or company. I'm not sure what they're.
Well, they've cancelled 2 years in a row now because they want to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, so. I hope so. I don't think it's a big ask for people to wear masks indoors, but some people make out it's like the world's going to end. Yes, exactly. But for me, it's not a big ask.
They did say, and this is from the convention center themselves, everyone will have to be forced to sanitize upon arrival and like distance a bit as well. But yeah, in terms of masks,
a shower, by the way. There's just a whole area at the front. So when you arrive, they make you strip down nude and do a full shower. It's the opening to Austin Powers when they unfreeze him.
Yeah,
and it's like the evacuation cut. Evacuation cut.
Sponsored
all my
by
boomers
Nivea.
get my reference.
My body has never felt better.
Sorry, the question was, Nick, say that there wasn't a pandemic, right?
Yes.
Everything's fine. You can go to a con, no worries about health. What is the driving factor for you to go to, say, TwitchCon?
So for me, it was honestly to go and meet everybody that I had met on the platform. So back in 2018, I was in quite a big social circle of people from the US and sort of like Europe. Yep. So going to TwitchCon made so much sense. Saved up, and basically everybody, like TwitchCon San Jose that year was like the center hub for everybody. And so that was the main driving force, to literally meet everyone, like in viewers as well, that I've all gotten to know. And that was incredible. The con itself was pretty good. I didn't really go and see many of, like the panels or anything like that. It was mainly just like the exhibition floor. And just, seeing people and hanging out with people. That was the main driving force for me.
Yeah. I think for me, if it was like I had to narrow it down to why I'm going to TwitchCon, I think one, it's an excuse to kind of go overseas, first of all, and kind of, I'm going to go around, seeing as I'm over here, I may as well go to TwitchCon, or I may as well go, East Coast, West Coast, Middle, Central America, whatever it is. But for me, I definitely think it would be one, being absorbed in the experience of just going to a con and seeing what Twitch puts forward more than anything. I would love to meet other creators. And of course, I would love to meet the people that have, supported me over the years in like a community thing, just like a meet and greet type stuff, or hanging out, going bowling, whatever it is. I just think it's more about, those opportunities, networking. Obviously, you've got, big people from companies there. And if you can meet them, it's always a nice step forward. But for me, it definitely is more about the experience. Seeing streamers and seeing community, I think, is the main reason. I don't think I'll go to many of the panels, if at all. I'm sure I'll maybe watch the keynote. But apart from that, it really is just a meetup, isn't it? Like, that's what most cons are. You can play some video games and stuff, but it really is about meeting up with people. But that's me. Now, Eljay, hot take Eljay. Yeah.
I see absolutely 0 point in going.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, like, I don't even see really a point in going to PAX as a streamer, other than for 2 reasons. One, to meet and buy a beer to the Twitch ANZ staff, because the amount of shit they get on ANZ, they deserve at least a strong beverage bought for them by every partner.
Yeah.
And then 2, to hang out with like you two, right?
Yes.
Like, or when Micro Mads as well.
Oh, but I think all the amazing streamers that we know.
But I think a bunch of them are going to San Diego now, or at least they were before today's announcement. We'll find out.
Oh, right.
No, Mads is set on PAX.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I essentially, the way I look at it is just, I can't find any good reason to go, because here's my thing. If I'm going to meet brands at a convention like TwitchCon, that doesn't make any sense to me, because I've already connected with most brands who are interested in me. And most of the time, you're better off connecting with them online when they actually have time and not being bombarded by thousands of people. Yeah. Right. Also, I make a terrible in-person first impression. And then
hold on, rewind. Why do you make a terrible impression?
So what you guys don't know is that when I travel overseas, I only wear skin-tight hot pants, like really tight orange or pink hot pants.
I still
really
failed to see how it's a bad first impression.
Well, it's because my balls go on either side of the pants and you can see them. So anyway, essentially that.
Again, that's just a pleasant view.
Oh, they call me the hot take for a reason. So it's one of those things. People often say to me like, oh, but you go to meet the people. And I'm like, I don't feel like that's the environment that I want to meet people in, to be honest. Right. And also another one that I find really rough is I feel like most streamers these days, I don't even know if I want to get too close to them, because
anybody listening who's a streamer is now second guessing themselves, like, did
it's like, okay, just like hear me out at this, right? As I talked about this last week, but people are so dramatic, right? On both sides, right? On one side, you've got the people who are just like, have so much anger and drama at everything that happens in the Twitch space. And on the other side, you've got the people who are just so angry and dramatic about the people who are angry and dramatic. Yeah. And it's like, can we all just chill the fuck out and just focus on doing the content side of things? Why do we need to be so angry and upset at the fact that, and I know we're joking today about the fact that, we've got this, Twitch is doing a super spreader, but we're only doing that because we're making content, right? I'm not tweeting it out and being like, how fucking dare they? I'm gonna start streaming on YouTube and doing this. It's like, and it's just like, or just like people are just angry at everything. I get it. It's because they care. But at a certain point, it's like you should probably chill the fuck out. Right. And I just personally, I'm trying so hard to just block out all of the drama that is in the Twitch space right now and focus just on my stream, my content, my YouTube channels. And it's so hard, right? It's so hard because I feel like I get DMs and dragged into it of people being like, hey, you see this thing, Eljay? What? Like they'll ask me while I'm live, they'll be like, you see this thing? What do you think about it? What do you think about it? It's like clearly a bait.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Dude. Like I really don't care. You know what I mean?
They're desperate for your opinion, and then someone will clip it and then put it out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, it's, I don't know, man. I just feel like, you know, someone who I really admire is Nutty, right? And the reason I really admire Nutty is because he is just like, he just does his own thing, right? He just does his thing. He vibes it out. He goes ham, makes, you know, whatever content he feels like making and just enjoys his little adventure and what he's doing. And I fucking love that, right? Like, that's so good. And I just feel like,
I was gonna say, you could tell because his I love seeing him live because his stream titles always crack me up. It's always just this funny like title of just like, come help me like make my content for me or some crazy stuff where he's just like, just to get people to come in and be like, we're gonna do random. He's like, I don't have a plan for this stream today. We're gonna fucking wing it.
Fly by the seat of my pants.
Well, right. It's you know, it suits because it's just like he knows his lane, he knows the content he makes, and he just rolls with it, right? You know, and I fucking love that for him. And he's a king, right? He's my king. I'd give him a kiss on the lips if he asked me to. And it's like, it's just like I stand by it, right? In the sense that I just feel like the Twitch space right now, it's so hard. You can't go anywhere without seeing someone complaining about something, right? Every week it's a new drama. Udi's not paying enough. Okay, well, we don't need to do fucking 5,000 tweets about it. Just don't work with them and they'll suddenly start paying enough.
Exactly.
Right? You know, oh, now everyone's upset because fucking someone said something and it got clipped out of context and shared. Or, oh, Andrew Tate's here now. And it's like, just, oh, God.
And it's like, drama.
I get the big guys doing it because it's clout. It's like extra content and stuff like that. But when you've got 50 to 100 viewers or less than that, it's like, dude.
Yeah.
Just fucking take a step back and focus on your own content. Like, who cares?
Yep. No, I hear you loud and clear when it comes to that.
That's why.
So I'm not going to TwitchCon.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of people, you know, don't see a lot of traction as much as they want to because they're too outward focused, worrying about what other people, worrying about drama. It's just like just do your own thing, pay attention, learn from successes that are from other, you know, what other people are doing well. Apply it yourself. Yeah. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not difficult.
That's the thing, right? They're focused on, you're right, two things. They're either focused way too much on other people's streams when they should just focus on their own shit. And two, they're way too focused on vanity metrics. Like way too focused on vanity metrics, dude. Like I get this every day. It's like, hey man, how do I reach partner? And I'll go look at the channel and it'll be like, they've got 2 average viewers. Then they've just reached affiliate. Like they've been streaming for like 3 days. I'm like, what do you want me to say to you? Like, what are you expecting me to say here? Right? Like it took me, I think like a year and a half, maybe, I don't know, like something like that to reach partner. And I had to get to a fucking 80,000 subs on YouTube and have all this extra stuff. And I had to have like 200 average viewers before they said yes to me. Like
that's it. There's different paths for everyone, right, Eljay? It's just this like, there's no answer to like, how do I get partner? Get the numbers and apply and hopefully they accept you. That's the end of it. Like that's all you could do. Just get the numbers and hopefully they like you to accept or whatever reason, you know? And it's so frustrating where they think it's kind of like, well, that's the be all end all. It's like, I need that thing for the clouts because I think a lot of people want the partnership, not because they know what it actually entails, but just because it's kind of like that tick next to your name that's like, that's it. I've made it. I no longer have to worry about anything else. You know, it's all going to be easy. It's going to be roses and rainbows and everything. And it's so frustrating to see and hear and just like, dude, you're so much more focused on hitting numbers than actually making content. That's what's driving you backwards in the first place.
I had some guy in my stream yesterday while I was doing so now I'm doing daytime streams. I'm going back and revisiting some older content I made like a year and a half, 2 years ago for a new audience, right?
Yep.
And it's allowing me to do it in a way that's more receptacle to creating video content. So it gives me a chance to, it's kind of like 2 years ago or a year ago, I practiced a content idea to like 100, 200 people and they loved it, but I did it in a way that meant I couldn't turn it into a video, right? And so now I'm revisiting it, brand new audience, and I'm doing it now that in a way that I can pass it off to an editor or take it myself and edit it, and I can actually make videos from it, right? Which is cool. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But I had some guy being like, how do I get partner? And I said, hey man, go watch my latest video. I literally talk all about that in that video. Go watch that video. And the video is essentially being like, stop focusing on vanity metrics. Focus on two things: good content and making that content discoverable. And I give explanations about how I'm doing these daytime streams in the video and how I'm using it and stuff like that. I've talked about it on the podcast 1,000 times. People listening should understand what I mean. But essentially, he comes back and goes, that video is titled about affiliate. And I'm like, well, you didn't watch it clearly because you came back 2 minutes later and just the title talks about affiliate, but most of it's about partner. Go watch it. Comes back like 5 minutes later. Again, I know he's not fully watched it. And he goes, your advice just says to make good discoverable content. That doesn't make sense. You're not doing that right now. I'm like, I literally am. That's literally what I'm doing right now. Like I'm literally like right now is what I'm doing. I'm making a something that can be turned into a video, as I discuss in the video you're supposed to be watching. And he's like, it doesn't make sense. And he goes, it doesn't make sense. Give me an example of discoverable content. I said, I have a YouTube channel of 186,000 subs. That is discoverable content. He goes, yeah, but you have all those subs, but you don't have the viewers here. And I go, if you'd watched the video, I told you to watch at the start. I literally explain user intent.
Yeah.
I'm not sat here giving stream advice. I'm literally just replying to you because you frustrated me. like 186,000 people have subbed because they like hearing about how to grow as a beginner. They don't really give a shit about how I'm going to punch a rhino in the asshole to beat it in a fight.
I care.
You know what I mean?
I care too. I want to see that.
Well, Reapz, you raided me, and the first words that your raid heard was, yeah, I'd probably shove my fist right into its asshole, right?
I had to run, so I was like, okay, we're going to raid him, get nice raid message and everything. And so I did the raid thing, and you know how like your chat changes to their chat? Well, mine does,
Yeah.
And the person was like, all I saw is, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, I wish I could say, but I got to run. So now I know it's about a rhino fisting. And I was like, classic.
What is your obsession with punching asses? Because when you did the Pokemon fight or flee thing, I was told that your go-to for beating Pokemon was to punch them in the ass or fist them.
Oh, it's because there are only 3 weak points on my entire body personally, and that's my neck, my balls, and my ass, right? And so I run the same concept. Now, if I can't get to the balls of an animal, for example, like a rhino, it's quite hard to get to the balls, you'd be trampled.
Okay.
Then, and the neck's quite armored, well, you have to go for the third final one, which is the butthole. And usually the butthole is undefensible, right? It's on animals, they don't have cheeks like we do, other than your baboons, because, they don't need them. So it's much easier to get to. So the goal is always, where do you do the damage on something that's fully armored? And you go from there. You know what I mean? I did say though, so I said to them everyone on chat, I was like, who do you think the most deadly animal on this entire list is? And they all were like, oh, the lion, oh, the tiger. Oh, I wouldn't want to fight the bald eagle. And I was like, you guys are all fucking idiots. You know what you don't fight? Chimps.
Oh yeah, they'll rip you apart. They will rip you apart.
It is proven that chimps will go directly for your testicles. Okay, it is like a thing they do. If they are in a fight and if they attack a human, they go straight for the testicles and rip the cock and balls off. So I was like, you know what? If I only got 3 weak points and one of them is my cock and balls, a chimp knows that. They're coming for me. Okay?
I don't like this story anymore.
Damn, I did not know this.
What's the smaller one? I'd much rather fight the smaller one. That's it's like starts with Ma.
MAC.
It's MAC something. Mark. It's like a much smaller monkey of some sort.
Not a macaw.
My cock in your mouth, Nick.
Oh, you got it!
No. Well, that's all the time we got for our streamer. It was going to be me or you, Nick. It was going to be. I'm glad that you were smarter than I.
The only one that continues to successfully get me. Like I am on high alert on stream. Everybody tries to get me with this shit, and
this is supposed to be a safe space, Eljay.
I better see a time code appear. I better see a time code appear in the Discord, and this better be a damn TikTok. You cannot suppress this, all right?
30 minutes in? God damn it.
33
Yeah,
minutes
33 is what would say. Oh my God. No. It would have been me. That's the thing. It would have been me.
I'm just basking right now. I'm just basking.
My literal note is 33 minutes in, episode 28, cock in mouth. That's just, that's the note.
Is it 28?
I think we're 30. I think
we're 30.
We're 30, mate.
Oh, I'm too far.
We're
Never mind.
30.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations to 30. Woo,
Hey.
did it. Hey.
Dirty 30s.
Our eggs are drying up now.
Yeah. Oh, no. But what we should go on to is we talked about TwitchCon. We've talked about, obviously, what you go, why you wouldn't go. But we also haven't heard from the other side in terms of YouTube are now apparently paying people to enable a feature. Who would like to take this over?
Nick fan.
Yeah.
Go on, Nick.
Yeah.
Turning over to Nick with emergency hot news.
We come to you with breaking news. YouTube is paying you to turn on a button. Legitimately, for those of you that don't know, YouTube has memberships, which is basically their equivalent of Twitch subs. However, they really, really want people to use them, and they are emailing creators and offering them $500 to turn it on. Just to activate memberships on their channel, which is crazy.
$500 to turn on a feature that can also give you more monetary value.
Which is like $1 million in Australian money.
Didn't you say that it's like every single person who signs up, you get an extra $5 as well?
I think that was the where is it here? And $5 for each new member over your first 30 days. Yeah.
That's so good, dude. That's so good. Because I've got memberships already on and they didn't offer me the money. I just have it on.
Dude.
So I'm really throwing out there, fully fucking scammed. But like, I've got it on. And I got to say, memberships, really fucking good.
Yeah.
They are really good. Not in terms of revenue, unless you like shout it out every week. And I think you need to like have a certain type of content for it to really pop off.
Right.
But like, in the grand scheme of it, they're really, really good because like you can control how much each tier costs. You can control all sorts of stuff. And it's just really, really nice how it works. There are places they could improve, like add more badges, add more remote slots, stuff like that.
Okay.
But just like in the grand scheme of it, it's just nice that you can control the pricing. Granted, in no way in hell would I ever want Twitch to add the ability to control pricing.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, if we see enough drama already in the Twitch space, right? If we made it so that you can control your own pricing, holy shit, it would be like literal civil war.
Yeah.
Why is yours set to $1 when that guy lets me do it for 50 cents?
Yeah. No,
dude, it would be terrible.
it would. Yeah. Stock standard prices for Twitch seems to be the go ahead. But for the YouTube memberships, what do they offer you? Like, is it like emotes, ad-free viewing? What are the main
ad-free
things?
viewing on the channel? Ad-free viewing on the channel. They get little badges, emotes, same as normal Twitch. Twitch would do if there was subs. But they also have member-only content, so you can release like member-only videos that don't hurt your SEO or don't hurt your channel at all. They're like kind of paywalled Patreon things. You can set it up so that anyone who's a member, if they comment, their comment will always appear at the top of a list.
Right.
So you can always make sure you reply to every single member first. Again, there's like all these little, you can set up a bunch of prices. You can set up what those prices give you. I think you can hook currently, I got to confirm this, but I'm fairly certain if you're a member, you can connect it to a Discord server as well and get access to special channels.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's very similar to subs, but it's a little bit more focused on being kind of like a behind the scenes or a Patreon or kind of like that than it is where on Twitch, your sub is like direct support for the free content and you get all these badges and things. You know what I mean?
That's cool because I think we're talking about this beforehand, Eljay, and you raised a good point. It's like, why would YouTube want to pay people $500 plus the $5 per member for the first month? What are they trying to do here? And I think you raised a good point in terms of like they're trying to combat Patreon, which a lot of YouTube people already use, and go, well, we can just make it all in the one basket, as it were. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like people should convert from Patreon to YouTube now they got these features, or is it better to obviously spread out your base there in case something goes under?
I think it depends on the content creator,
Okay.
to be honest. I think one of the, whenever I go to Twitch, which isn't much anymore because my doctor said my blood pressure is too high, I often comment the same thing to every question. as I always start more like this. I go, as every question that is asked on this subreddit, it isn't a definite answer despite what anyone on here might be saying, right? Because at the end of the day, there's no, as you said earlier, Reapz, one size fits all content strategy, right? You know what I mean? And I think that's the same with YouTube. For example, I'm currently in talks with setting up a Patreon, not for myself, but for a graphic designer that I know, where they're going to create a bunch of graphics and stuff like that and put them on a Patreon and have it so that the Patreon kind of cycles through 3 fancy stream overlays every month, right? So people, kind of like a gacha game, it's like, I'm going to sign up. Oh, these are the 3 this month. Oh, next month it's these. Cool. I want to see that one, right?
Yep.
But there'll also be a basic level of like stingers and stuff that always are there. But and then also attaching to that, there might be like 30-minute interviews with content creators, right? And that's like a project I'm setting up for a designer who's really talented but doesn't have the marketing for it, right? And I think that's perfect for someone like that, right? But at the same time, if we were to say attempt to do that for Stream Scheme, I wouldn't put it behind Stream Scheme's memberships because there's no real way to upload stuff directly behind it. It's not really built for something like that, you know? So I think your content strategy is a really big thing to take into account for this, right? Personally, for me, in the grand scheme of things, I would probably find myself, you know, if I wasn't a Twitch streamer, I would probably find myself focusing on a Patreon. So, because I have multiple different YouTube channels, I wouldn't want people to do memberships all to one channel or all to 3 channels. I would instead be like, hey, this Patreon is going to be all the behind the scenes bonus stuff. And if you do that, you get special stuff and you don't have to worry about all 3 channels. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, it depends on who you are.
It's real. I feel the exact same way because like I see a lot of streamers that you know, they have a Patreon or a secondary place for people to go and support. And I think to myself, well, I was like, if I was going to do that, what could I actually offer of value to people extra from streaming, right? The YouTube stuff aside, like if you're only streaming, what can you actually offer? I know some people set up like some people do like Fan House. I think it's called Fan House. Where it's just that
Fan House is interesting. Fan House, the CEO of Fan House is really, really outspoken on Twitter and stuff like that as well. They got really upset when they made an app because Apple tried to make them take a massive cut and raise all their prices on Fan House because of the App Store takes a cut. And so they made all these posts being like, we're going to leave the app up, but I'll tell you what, don't fucking support anyone using the app. Just go to the browser. It's way cheaper and the content creator gets more. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, that's right. And to my understanding, people mainly, from what I see, use Fan House as more like a kind of day in the life behind the scenes where, you know, people can just upload whatever. They can like kind of like
a coffee.
Yeah, like, or just personal Twitter feed. They can just, you know, the creators will just post whatever they want, post random little video vlogs, updates, that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's like, I'm like, okay, for some people that might work well. Some people want that kind of extra level of, I guess, getting to know the creator that they enjoy watching. But I can't feasibly think of what any streamers could offer on you know, as an extra bonus for signing up to a Patreon. There's not really much you can really do.
No, I think you're right. It really is. It feels like more kind of, if you make YouTube videos and stuff, you can always put up, you know, extra bits and things. But I'm thinking like, you know, from like the podcasting side for us, it's like, I imagine I'm signed up to a podcast on Patreon and they do amazing things. Like they do their weekly kind of audio, but you know, on that one, you can do the video. They also make extra content like game shows and things around it. And it's really cool. Like they do different types of podcasts where it's not just the one you listen to. It's like this week we're going to talk about all the James Bond films and, you know, behind the scenes and all this stuff. It's like, you know, great ideas. But it's like, if I was thinking like what I would do for myself on Patreon, one, I wouldn't do it right now because obviously I think a lot of people are finding it hard with money these days, especially with inflation and recession. I don't think it's the time to launch anything. But then again, what do I know? But I've always thought.
I think that's a fair thing to say, to be honest, dude. That's 100% fair thing to say. I think it also shows that you're not like a lot of streamers who. Anyway.
Eljay started and was immediately like, nope.
Look, I'm all for streamers getting paid to create content. Don't get me wrong. But lately I've seen some pretty egregious ways of promoting sub generation that I'm like, a little bit guilt trippy
Yeah.
to talk about how you have to fill up your tank of gas and it's at $2 and stuff like that. And like,
do you know, I'm not going to say the name of the YouTuber, but there's this guy who every week says, you know, I need more money because, you know, YouTubers claimed the rights for Final Fantasy music, every single week asking for more people to send more money their way, even though they live in this like gated community surrounded by thousands of dollars worth of products. It's kind of crazy. It makes me sick a little bit, but sorry, going off tangent, please continue on. My bad.
you were talking.
I was. And all in all, what a great day.
My fucking gut. You were talking about how if you were going to set one up, and then you were like, "I'm not going to set one up."
My point back then.
No, you said you were going to add something to it. What are you going to add on the Patreon that you're not going to set up?
Eljay interrupted,
All right,
and then
fine,
you were going to we were waiting for you to continue.
Was I? Oh no, I literally finished my point when Eljay started talking. That was it.
Oh,
okay. I was saying that guy on YouTube.
Yeah. Got it.
Yep.
But either way, like I think that's one of the big things, right? Is monetization happens in a lot of different forms, and I think one of the big things that people need to remember is that yes, there is a lot of good ways, and yes, you should be paid as a content creator, but there are a lot more sustainable ways to do it.
Yeah.
And whatever you're doing, you should provide value. You know what I mean? Like that's a really big thing. Make sure whatever you do, you provide value for why and what, and don't expect people to do it for nothing.
Yeah.
And yes, entertainment can be value, but Twitch is free, so you shouldn't expect it. You know. I find it very interesting, some of the takes lately, and I'm seeing it get more and more aggressive as well, because there's a lot of creators out there who only create content on Twitch, and so their entire revenue comes from their audience, right?
Yeah.
Directly from the pocket of their audience. And when that is the case and things get expensive, subs drop.
Yes.
Like I was talking to a UK streamer who's a lovely person, and they showed me that they used to average like 500 subs for like 110 average viewers, which is, you know, pretty good.
Yeah.
And then over the last like 3 to 4 weeks, they've slowly dipped and they're at like 220 with the same average viewers, same unique chatters, same activity, same content, everything like that. And it just comes down to the fact that when you look at it, it's entirely gifted subs are just gone.
Yeah.
Like that's what the main thing is. Gift subs have dropped off for every single person. A lot of people have been saying to me recently in my content as well, like, "Oh, Eljay, you should do another one of the Pain Week streams where, you know, a sub turns your controller off, or 5 subs is a Vegemite spoon and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, maybe." But then in the back of my head, I go, I mean, that's a bit rough, to be honest, because like, yes, it would be really good for me to do that, but at the same time, anything more than like just a fun little bit for 20, 30 minutes that drives a little bit of revenue, I feel kind of weird about, because I don't personally need it with Twitch revenue.
Yeah.
Right? I understand other creators need it, and I'm not very judgy, by the way. This is a big thing, is I don't really give a shit what other people do. I'm not going to call you out. Live your best life. But like, yeah, in my head, I don't need it, and I'd feel a bit weird.
Yeah. As we talked about before, we're going through that. You can definitely see, like, in terms of viewership, we know that that's going down during this time. But also, as we said, inflation and impending recession all around the world is definitely at the forefront. And people just aren't spending as much, with good reason. They should be focusing on their own monetary situation rather than, you know, streamers. And as tough as that is for me, because I do get most of my income through Twitch, I completely understand. That's why I'm not an idiot. And when I did get money, I put it away. Like I put it in a rainy day fund, because I know there's always going to be these peaks and troughs that, you know, we have to go through. And what are you going to do to fund yourself? That's why, you know, Nick and I, we still have, you know, our casual jobs on the side so that we can fund ourselves if we ever get into this kind of situation. And there are different avenues that I'm trying to explore that are outside of Twitch, because I know that Twitch can't be a forever thing. In terms of, you have to rely on that solely for your finances. And it'll be irresponsible to go to the people who are, you know, you always see those crazy clips that we talk about every single time. It's only $5. How can you not afford $5?
Yeah.
It's just, I never want to be that person. I don't ever want to make people feel guilty for not being able to sub, even if they've been around for years and years. It's like, just watch the content and hope you enjoy it.
Like, fuck me. I'm... please, I hope this doesn't come across wrong, right? Like, I'm quite well off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't even afford more than like 1 or 2 Twitch subs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like my rent just went up by a fuckload and stuff like that. And you see it, you know, I just had to fill up my tank two weeks ago and at $2.10.
Crazy.
You know, Australian, which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, now it's down to $1.60. So that was great to find out.
Yeah. I held off and it went down to $1.49 here. And I was like, oh, the heavens have blessed us.
Yeah.
So happy. But yeah.
So no, I find it like a little bit. I try and make sure that I'm very empathetical about this stuff. And you see when people aren't, you can see it very clearly when people aren't, they don't have, I'm trying to find the appropriate and kind way of putting it. It's not a lack of empathy. It's that they don't really have a worldview where they're able to understand that not everyone is as lucky as they are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like they don't realize that, you know, someone could be working at Hungry Jack's or Burger King if you're American for minimum wage, and they work 5 hours and that's barely enough to make ends meet.
Yeah.
They go home, they throw on Twitch, and then they're getting bombarded with people being like, I need to pay rent myself, so you got to sub.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah. Sorry, Nick. Go on.
no, you go, Reapz. Sorry.
I was just saying that the other day on stream, I was talking about, you know, the situation in terms of like, you know, do you ever work for like food services, you know, waiter, waitress, that type of thing? And it blew my mind that in some states, their minimum wage is like $2.80.
Yeah,
and the
dude.
only thing that they make is tips, right? Like that's where they make, you know, most kind of like streaming in a way. You get it from subs, tips, everything like that. And it boggled my mind because here in Australia, as you know, we have like a minimum wage, but it's like, you know, $14, $15, $16, $20, whatever it is.
When I worked at the cinemas as a 14-year-old or 14 and 9 months for my very first job I ever actually had, I earned $15 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I told people that, as I like essentially a 15-year-old earning $15 an hour, when I told people that on Twitch, they said, yeah, but it's AUD. And I was like, yeah, okay, so hold on, let me just, 15 AUD to USD. Yeah, you're right. So I earned $11 an hour. What are you earning? And people were like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
yeah.
And that was, you know, over a decade ago as well. So it's, I don't know.
And I got sick leave.
Yep.
And I got sick leave. I also got dental from them, which was hilarious.
Superannuation, which is like,
They gave me super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have it really good here. So I hate tip culture. Like that like in terms of, you know, people like businesses expecting their workers to like rely on those tips. Like we're going to pay you basically nothing and then just hope you do a good job and then, you know, and earn tips.
Yeah.
Like it is just so rough. So we've got it very, very good here. But like, and you know, to anyone who you know, might say that, oh, but you know, saying that, you know, just watching the content like on Twitch, that doesn't, you know, like that's not going to help you like in any way besides giving you an extra number. It's not true. Like it's the reason why, you know, we're all seeing a lot more streamers taking sponsor deals and doing payment campaigns, because these are what help pay those bills. It's like they're not relying on, you know, you guys to gift subs or anything like that. They're working with a company who's saying, hey, we're going to pay you to promote this, you know, and go from there. And that's like a guaranteed paycheck that they can work with. So don't, you know, for people who might get a little bit, you know, might kind of screw their nose up, being like, oh, you know, this streamer's doing a sponsored thing or they're doing an ad spot in their stream. It's just like, everyone's got to pay bills. And, you know, if those that do it right, you know, it's not going to really be too disruptive to the stream. It's going to be very passive, very natural. So yeah, just like if, you know, support your streamers who are taking these sponsored deals because they need to.
Yeah.
They need to.
I've been working with a few ANZ streamers who I've connected with recently to do some collabs with. I did this collab like a few months ago, right before I went on my honeymoon, and I've just been so swamped. I haven't even had time to edit it, right? But I've been working with a few of them, and since we touched base with it, it meant that we've been chatting more, and it's been really good to see other people's perspectives and see where people are struggling. But one thing is that I get a lot of messages now in the ANZ part of the Discord and in general being like, hey, Eljay, can you set some rates for me? And I'll be like, yeah, look, let's outline it. Let's run through it. How are we feeling about this? Blah, 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 blah. And one thing I keep saying to them right now, I'm like, look, if someone is coming to you as a sponsor and you have real value for them, one of the best things you can do is say you'd rather do a 6-month contract. If you take a small cut in how much they're paying you each time for a 6-month contract, it's so much more powerful, right? Like obviously not if the logo is full screen and all that stuff, but just like being able to like make one video a month for 6 months and you get paid the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what is going to happen over the next 6 months, but knowing that you can always get $500 for each of these streams or each of these set of TikToks or social posts and stuff like that is so much more powerful. And I always give this advice. I'm like, look, yes, you can do a once-off payment for like $2,000, or would you rather say to them, hey, can you pay me $700 every single month for the next 6 months? You'll get more content out of me and you'll be paying me only a little bit more, but it goes on for longer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time people are like, oh, I kind of need the $2,000 now. And I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it ends up being more, longer, safer. And yeah, that's one of my big pieces of advice. If you can, try lock it in and never take the Stream Elements ones that reach out to you, because those aren't real sponsorships. Those are just on mass emails.
They're just crap.
Guys, come on. We need to do Raid Shadow Legends. By the way, this week's episode of Streamer is sponsored by... No, I'm not going to go into
well, no, it's World of Tanks now, right?
Yeah,
World of Tanks is the meme one now, right?
Vikings?
Every
every
time.
Vikings something?
Oh, yeah, Vikings.
Vikings,
Yeah. There's also all the anime... what's the appropriate way to put it? Titty games that are...
the boomer games. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like 15 different champions, and then you look at the champions and it's just like a bunch of just like women just with practically with their breasts entirely out, just
That reminds me, I saw a photo, I think it was on Instagram. It was a photo of like some super scantily outfit from like a runway show, and the caption was female armor in video games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I thought you were about to say that it was an Instagram ad and not a meme, and I was about to be like, Nicky boy, you're outing yourself here, man. Those are smart ads.
I just like wearing women's clothes. Okay?
I had some dude, I had the best thing, right? In one of my old videos, I say, if you guys are so upset about women in hot tubs, then you need to have the exact same energy, if not more energy, to be brought to the concept of gambling on Twitch, right? That was my whole thing. I wasn't saying that like, if this is here, then this should be allowed. I was saying, if you're upset and you're worried about Twitch, you should also have the energy here, which none of them do.
Yeah.
And dude, the comments on that are fucking wild, obviously. But one of them was great. He was like, I'm so tired of seeing sexualization on every website I go to. I go to YouTube, and all of the ads I get are for anime hentai games. And then I go on Amazon, and they're all recommending me the hentai games. And Steam is recommending it. And I just wrote back to him, buddy, all of that stuff is smart targeting. It's literally doing that because you have looked it up in some form, and the IP address and tagging and everything like that. And people are like, that's not true. That's not actually how it works. Like, motherfucker, I worked in PPC and digital marketing for 2 years. Yes, it is.
Guys, that's what cookies
it 100% is.
You know those internet cookies? That's what they are.
Because you clear your cache, clear it out.
It does. So that even doesn't matter as well.
Oh,
like, it's
really?
not even about that.
The IP address?
So there are like these two concepts, right? You go to a web page, and pretty much on every single web page these days, there's a thing called a Google Pixel and a Facebook Pixel. And essentially those just like grab all your information and know what it is because you're logged in on it, and it counts it, right? And then it's just like a user smart targeting, right? So it's very, very easy to set up, and companies do it. And it's also very cheap depending on your industry, right? Because imagine it, right? So if you're advertising like to a lawyer, it costs like $70 per ad or whatever it is. I'm not going to do a big one. It's not going to explain it deeply because that's an expensive price. So a click brings them over and they pay for it.
Yeah.
But on things like hentai games or porn and stuff like that, or things that are a bit risky, you can advertise that stuff for so cheap, right? It's like so cheap. So en masse, it just gets sent out. And it's also just so funny watching people out themselves and be like, why do I keep getting an anthropomorphized dog dressed in tiny little clothing shared on my Twitter feed? You know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Why are they advertising this to me?
I should never have tweeted that.
God, yeah.
I've outed myself.
You've had yourself. We know what you're into. You disgust me.
You disgusting sicko.
I just get maid outfits. Different websites telling me to buy maid outfits because I own like 3 from Amazon buy streams.
Yeah.
And other reasons.
Yeah. I thought I'd lost my cat ears from my maid outfit. I found them the other day. I was like, good. I was like,
nice.
Because I was going to buy more. I thought about doing, and I got the idea from a friend of mine, the next like dress up goal thing, Sailor Scout.
Okay.
Ah.
However, I bought something from Japan and had to go ship with DHL. It took a week. A week from Japan with DHL.
That's quick.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Had to pay a bit more for it. But yeah, I was like, I expected it to still take like 2 to 3 weeks. Nah, literally a week. I was like, holy crap.
I'll take that from Japan as well. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Japan's pretty wild about that stuff. I think Europe's pretty good as well when you think about it. Like, I was talking to one of my mates and he ordered a bunch of stuff from that was coming from Europe.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of like tech equipment, like SSDs and stuff like that he'd bought through Prime Day, but it was all coming from overseas. And it took 2 days to go from like the complete other side of the other side of the planet, right? Like I'm talking like the UK or Germany or something like that. It took 2 days to go through like 6 countries and get to Australia. And then it took a week and a half to come from Sydney to Brisbane.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Wow.
It's nuts. It's
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then Ozpost just puts a card in, doesn't knock on your door, and you can't go get it.
It's like, just peace out.
I was here. You know, they usually send you like an SMS saying your package will arrive between blah and blah. And I'm like, great, I'm home the whole day. Literally gets to about 5 p.m. Was like, wasn't I expecting a package today? Went out front, that little slip. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There was no knock on the door. There was no doorbell rang. It was just left. They just literally just threw it in my mailbox and was like, all right, see you later. Peace out. So annoying.
Why do you think I just got up? I literally just got up because I heard the knock and I ran downstairs and they'd already driven off and just carded me.
Dude,
I hated that.
I was supposed to have stuff arrive.
I get some of the same delivery drivers. There's an Ozpost guy who delivers to me a lot, and I think a Star Trek guy who delivers to me a lot, and like they're good, they're great. But then on the occasion, I'll get like the crappy ones like that who they'll just card and you have no idea that anything came. Or I had one the other day. He had the decency. He rang the doorbell, pieced out, but then I walked outside and the package was just like in the corner. So I was like, well, at least he left the package, but he was just like, just yeeted it, doorbell, and just pissed off. I was like, all right, okay, cool. Ran away. It's like awesome. But it's really funny though. I was home the entire day yesterday. Doorbell did not ring once at all. My dad comes home. He's like, there was a package for you. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, when? And it was the mugs. It was the mugs. They were just sitting there. And they didn't ring the doorbell at all. I was like, fantastic.
You love to see it. I don't know why they say it.
Although I feel bad for them to be actually real. I try to have a bit more empathy now because like I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm getting to this kind of Zen state, right? You know what I mean? Like, and also this has happened on Twitch recently with my move to daytime streams. I've got this Zen state that happens to me now where I don't give a shit, right? Yeah. Before I'd be anxious to go live at night and be like, oh, someone's going to bring up the fact that I got pimples and shit, or that I look a little tired, or like, oh, maybe chat's going to be slow. But now that I'm doing day streams, I kind of just go live and I'm like, YOLO. Yeah. You know, like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, but now, so like I try to be more empathetic in my brain because I think about it and I go, okay, so if someone is working at Ozpost, they get more depending on how many houses they visit.
Yeah.
Right? If they're the contractors. So they kind of are incentivized to card and run, right? Because they need to get through more houses and the more they do. And it's like, that's just such a bad system.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't lead to, it's same as tipping, right? Tipping doesn't lead to good service. It leads to people tired and angry because they're getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know?
I get on. Goes to show, just don't pay for, or just don't get forced signature, because then they'll doorbell and leave it at the very least. So you'll still get your package, won't force you to go down to the post office.
Oh, don't worry, I got to go to the post office, and my nearest post office is an hour away. So
really, oh dude, that's no fun.
Everyone always assumes that I live like central, and I'm like, motherfuckers, no, I live like in the middle of the bush.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Do you like the drive though?
Looks good.
Is it like nice to like kind of?
No, it's all highway. It's all gross highway with big soundboards and shit like that. It's not fun.
How do you pass the time? Music, audiobook?
I'm an absolute fucking psycho. I don't listen to anything.
Really? Just your own thoughts?
I'm just in the car. I'll have the AC on sometimes, like so you hear the. But otherwise, I'll just be like full sicko mode, just driving. Like it's like it's disgusting. Like people get in the car with me sometimes, and they'll be like, "Oh, you don't have like an aux cord or anything?" I'm like, "Nah."
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "How do you pass the time on drives?" And I'm like,
I call it the heaven up here.
Yeah. I'll listen to the seagulls in my brain.
In my brain cases. Do you boys find that at the moment? For me, I've been noticing that during this time, there's very minimal games that are coming out that people are hyped for. Because Stray,
it's hard.
Yeah, Stray just came out, which was a big one. Played it, obviously. I think most of us
playing
didn't
that
finished
tonight.
it.
Very excited.
Yeah. Oh, you're playing that? Okay, cool.
Can I hot take it?
Sure.
Nick, if you don't want to hear my hot take, it's not spoilers in terms of story and stuff, but it's a little bit of like a critique of the gameplay. If you want, you can take it off and I'll drop my hand when I'm done. It'll be like 5 seconds, I promise.
Nah, go for it.
Or you can just listen. Okay. Dude, hot take. Stray would be a fucking shit game and people would hate it if it wasn't for a cat.
I think Donkey had that same type of view.
Legit. Probably, like, I could see that.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched the Donkey Stray review yet, so that's probably he and I very much agree on most, right? Because I think he shaped a lot of my opinions when I was younger. But like, dude, I played it and I was like, yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And then an hour in, I was like, damn, this went full spunk the load and never recovered. Like they kept giving me like these new tools and stuff, and then like an hour and a half in, they're like, yeah, now we're taking all those new tools away, and it's just going to be a basic fucking press A platformer where you don't even aim the platform. You know what I mean? And the cat was like super janky sometimes. Like I'd be like trying to like climb up a ledge, and for some reason, for a split second, it would be like, hey, what about this ledge over here? And like jump all the way down. I'm like, fuck, you know, like, and like I'm putting a smile on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, story was, everyone's like, oh, it's all right. It was never advertised to me as gameplay, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, this atmosphere is cool, but the story ain't like fucking anything special.
I would have loved more exploration in the game of Stray. I would have loved to really just go into more buildings through like, you know, little vents and stuff like that. And just be kind of like, even just like I'm not sure what the right word is, but like it's just a people watcher game. You know what I mean? Like it's more about the atmosphere rather than trying to go up to here, there, and everywhere.
GTA
That's what I kind
it was so linear.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone said to me like, oh, it doesn't seem like you're exploring much. And I'm like, what do you mean? I go up to every door and like try and see if I can enter it, or go up to every building. You know, I'm talking to every person, and it's like half the people don't matter, right?
Yeah.
And like I beat it in like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Right? But Reapz, get this.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, take your headphones off for this actually. Don't listen to this, Nick. Okay,
Okay, hang on. Okay,
we'll do the hand, and when the hand's down. Okay, yeah.
Are you good? You good?
Well,
You're okay?
You know what? I'll just switch my headphones off. Then I can't hear.
Okay, good. Because I gotta
can't
tell
hear a
Reapz
thing.
this.
Okay, spoilers to anybody who's listening.
Anyone who's watching, there's a spoiler.
Yeah.
So mute until my hand goes down. And if your audio, get fucked. So 5 seconds into the game, Reapz, right? We get the companion, and I go, fuck, I'll be really careful about this actually, just for safety. And I say out loud, oh, that companion is probably XYZ, and this is what happened. It got clipped, and someone just wrote, how the fuck did he know that? And then at the end of the game, it happens, and I go, yeah, okay. And that means they're going to have XY happen in like probably 2 scenes. 2 scenes later, it happens, and everyone's like, what the fuck, Eljay? And I'm like, yeah, have you ever played a video game?
Basic
This story's
storytelling.
generic as fuck,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, all right, you're good, Nick. You're good, Nick. And I don't know. It's a fine game.
Yeah.
But like, and I enjoyed it. But I gotta be real. It's like I think it's made by Annapurna, right?
It is Annapurna.
It's published by Annapurna.
Published by Annapurna. And I was looking on Steam the other day, right? And Annapurna had a big like bundle deal, and they had Journey and Abzu. I didn't know Journey and Abzu were done by Annapurna or published by Annapurna.
Yeah.
And I gotta throw it out there. It is nowhere near as good as Journey or Abzu, right? Like in terms of an atmosphere game.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, everyone kept telling me it's an atmosphere game, Eljay. You shouldn't care about the gameplay. And I'm like, well, the atmosphere is cool, but it's like, it's not as good as the other stuff. Why, like, if it was, I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
No, I see Stray as a possible franchise. And I'm just saying like, it's a cat game. Like you can easily do it with different, you know, like say a dog or something like that. But the thing that I really want to see more of if they do another one is just more exploration, because it felt I was in these avenues and it was kind of like a lot of backtracking and then retracking and backtracking and retracking. And I was like, why not really just make a whole like big ass type of thing where I can go anywhere, get little side quests or stumble upon Easter eggs that I'm not supposed to find because I've been exploring for so long in all these hard to reach places. But it feels like you're very much in like in a sandbox, but not to the extent of like, say, GTA or something. It's just like, here's a little one. And once you've done everything there, then there's no point in being here anymore. So we're just going to move you on to the next little sandbox. And I was hoping it was a bit more kind of open world.
I believe that the dev, I can't remember the name of the dev team, the dev studio, but I believe it's quite small as well.
Right.
So it's probably,
and look, don't get me wrong. This isn't me saying the game is terrible, by the way. And I don't think Reapz is saying that either.
No.
It's just that when you play it, a lot of people are treating it like you can sign off on how repetitive the gameplay is, and the fact that the gameplay never evolves. And to me, the one time the gameplay evolved, I was so disappointed that like literally you did like 2 small scenes and then the gameplay devolved again and they took it away from you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not sure how I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everyone's like, it's not targeted for the gameplay.
Yeah.
And this is like this is a conversation I had with a bunch of streamer mates. We were in a call the other night playing games, and I said all this, and they were like, "What are you talking about? You know, it's atmosphere." And I've had a little bit of a conversation in Discords, but I'm mostly referring to the streamers who played it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I do feel like I'm taking crazy pills, because it's just like, also, all the fun things that I tried to do, they didn't let me.
Right.
Like I feel like I had almost no freedom. It's like, oh, here's the 3 fun cat things you do in the first hour. You knock things off, you scratch on walls, and you can trip people over when you run between their legs.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be real. After a little while, it's no longer fun to do the same animation where I'm fucking smashing the triggers to claw on a door for no reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People are already modding that game like crazy on PC as well. They're doing
Oh,
some
really?
Yeah.
So someone's made a thing where it's like you can like make your own cat. Like you can have your own cat as the playable cat.
Oh, okay.
And then
That's pretty
someone did something really cursed where they took CJ, the protagonist from GTA San Andreas, and put him in the cat like posing. So it's just CJ walking around as a cat.
It's just CJ. Can he bulk? Can he
so
go to the
messed
gym
up.
and bulk up like in San Andreas?
His arms get really skinny to match the cat. It's so cursed. I was watching a stream of someone playing Stray the other day, and then someone in chat was like, "Oh, I don't get why everyone's just like going crazy about this game." And I was like, "Yo, listen, in a gaming industry full of battle royales, loot boxes, like microtransaction bullshit, like like everyone's trying to do a live service, right? Of course, everyone's going to get excited about a bloody cat game when the industry is dominated by all of those things. It's like
Very
we need
much so.
something fresh." But I would say,
I think one of the. Sorry,
I was
go,
gonna
yeah.
say-
I was just gonna say.
go for it. Go.
I was just gonna say.
He's fucking with. He's doing the McCall thing to you again. Now you got
Okay. I was just gonna say though, like, one of the hardest parts about streaming and like caring about games and like wanting to talk about games is that I don't understand why everything is either perfect or everything is either shit in people's minds. I enjoyed Stray. I thought it was a good game,
same.
but I have critiques of it, and I'm allowed to have fucking critiques.
Nothing's
of stuff.
perfect. I agree with you. I feel like it isn't that sacred ground at the moment because it's about a cat. People are like, you can't say anything bad about it. It's independent, this type of thing. But it's like, come on now. Like, if it's a game that I've paid for and these are my, opinions on it, why can't I say it? It doesn't mean that everything is bad. I'm just saying that I would like to see this improved upon if they did a sequel or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or I think like when games have price points connected to them, sometimes there are certain expectations. Because I think Stray is like, what is it? Like, it's 42 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
And for 42 Aussie dollars, I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be a pretty decent game. And it was a decent game. But for $42, I really expected the gameplay to evolve.
Yeah.
Right? And have you boys both played Inside?
Yes.
Love Inside. Love
Inside is amazing, but I think it's like $12 or something like that for Inside, right? It's left to right, but the gameplay evolves so fucking much. It starts as like you jump, then it's like now you drag things around. Okay, now you jump into this thing and you have control over X.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't played it, right?
Or you swing.
And then when you have
swing across.
or you
So,
swing,
yeah.
like they're constantly adding new ways to make it so the game doesn't get repetitive and it's more than just left to right.
Yeah.
But I felt like with Stray, I was just like, I kept waiting for them to just add something to the gameplay. And as I said, when they finally added that one thing to it, they took it away 2 scenes later and turned the rest of the game into literally just press A or do mediocre stealth mechanics.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that there was this game I played back in the day. It was called, I think it was Shadow Complex, right? And it's basically like a Metroidvania dungeon crawler type thing. But the cool thing about it was when you started the game, you literally had all of the upgrades, right? So you were like, just like, what can I do? And you're just pressing all the buttons to like see what happens and stuff. And you're versing this like mega boss and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then spoiler, you lose everything. But because you've lost everything, you know what you're capable of. You're like, I need to find this upgrade so I can get to that area. Because I remember that from the beginning, so I need to go there. It's really, really well made. And I feel like that with Stray, if they did something like that, where it was, just like, yeah, you can trip people over, but there's a reason for tripping the right person over, or adding those different elements along. Because I know the part you're talking about where they take it away. You're like, why not add that? Because there was no kind of threat afterwards. I feel like...
Which frustrated me as well. They took away what they'd built up, right?
And then it's just like,
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. But I would like to also touch upon the fact that, did you see the other day that DrDisrespect posted gameplay of his new game that I believe he's an owner in with other people?
I haven't seen this.
Dead Drop. Feel free to look it up now, Nick.
Dead Drop.
I believe it's on his Twitter. Dead Drop Twitter, DrDisrespect. Got absolutely slaughtered. Now, before saying this, it is alpha. It's very much in the early stages and everything. But the way that he's been building it up, obviously, because he has to, he's major shareholder in this and he wants it to work. It is an NFT type game. It's a gun first person shooter.
If there's one thing you want to do is make your game finally release and shown off after the biggest NFT and crypto crash in modern history.
That's why GPU prices have gotten so cheap again.
Yeah. So apparently this game is being released next year, and I can't comment much about it because it's literally just the person in a shooting range, and it shows you some of the cityscape, whatever it is. Stock standard, but it very much looks like a mobile game at the moment in terms of what it's capable of, but it's being, hyped up to be something more. And the reason that I wanted to get onto this is because we've seen a lot more kind of influencers go, yo, let's make games. Let's show them how it's done. 100 Thieves, everything like that. They've gone in with game developers. And now it's kind of like the impetus is on them to make something good because they are now kind of be the spokesperson for the streamers or the gamers. And if it's crap, you better believe those publishers are going to be like, I mean, it's easy to, criticize something, but not as easy to make something, which it's looking that case with Dead Drop.
Have they said what kind of game it is? 'Cause it looks like
it's gonna be a shitty battle royale. Like, we know it, right?
He loves
it's all
his battle
DrDisrespect
royales.
does. Yeah. It's just a shitty fucking battle royales, and then walks around like he didn't do something so fucked that he got kicked off two of the largest social media platforms of his life.
Yeah.
And then complains that his only place he can stream is YouTube, and they won't help him because clearly he fucking did something stupid. Like, this is everyone always says like, oh, why did Doc get banned? Why did Doc get banned? Why did he get banned off Twitch? Blah 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 blah. Oh, it's probably just Twitch's fault. Motherfucker, he also got kicked off Discord. Like, everyone always forgets this. It wasn't just like one platform banned him. It was literally like two of the largest platforms said, we are not partnering or having anything to do with you in any way at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then he made a big stink. Was like, oh, motherfuckers, I'm going to take these guys to court. I'm going to take these guys to court. I'm going to take these guys to court. And then the moment he actually finally started trying to do stuff about it, he got real quiet and said, I'm not going to do anything about it. I got better things to do.
Yeah.
Because he realized, if I go to court, whatever fucking I did gets put out there in evidence.
Yeah.
Like,
Look at Johnny
obviously
Depp and Amber Heard. Yeah.
This is obviously conjecture, right? But like, he got real quiet. He got kicked off two of the biggest platforms, that don't normally talk. You know what I mean? Like Discord and Twitch, they're not sitting there with each other like in a room going, yeah, when we ban Miski for 3 days, we'll also kick him off Discord.
Yeah.
So whatever he fucking did had to have some weight behind it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very
and then he's like,
to think what
like,
it is.
Why won't YouTube partner with me and help me?
They do not want to have as much at least about association as possible.
Well, they also just don't need to.
No, exactly,
right?
and they don't need to either.
You want to go D-Live, your fucking cryptocurrency streaming platform?
I'll be honest. I looked at the gameplay. It looked like just a shittier Dead Space, just from the look of it. That's what
it just seems like it's got a gritty atmosphere and everything. And I know, again, I'm going to say this is like pre-alpha. This is very early stages, but they have said they're releasing in the first quarter or second quarter of 2023. So it's, around the
pretty
corner to some
soon.
degree. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're halfway through the year, more than halfway through the year. So we'll see how it goes. But the reason also why I want to touch on that is the fact that, yeah, it seems to me that we're in kind of this like lull period between big games coming out. I know God of War Ragnarok is coming out. That's like a big release. We know that the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is coming out. Big release, obviously, for a certain brand of streamer. But for me, it's like I'm not sure what I'm excited to play. I don't know what's on the release. There's like no new Mario, Zelda, things like that. So I'm just kind of
I assumed you'd be on Mortuary in the next couple of days, right?
Mortuary was released today, so I'm going to be playing that the weekend. But I know the thing with those horror games is, yeah, I'm really looking forward to play it, hopefully get some good viewership for it. But it's over very quickly. It's over between like 2 streams, maybe 3 streams. And then it's back to like, what do I do? Because as much as I love playing Fall Guys, there's a limited time and people I think are already getting sick of it because they played it so much.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do I go from here? So I'm kind of like, sheesh, what do I do?
You know what I've really been struggling with as well?
Yeah.
Exact same thing, but I've kind of put myself in a corner because I've also been doing recordings offline.
Okay.
So rather than play, there's this game called A Short Hike, which is one of the highest rated
Great little
games.
Great little
yeah, it's
game.
one of the high. It's
Gonna have to look at
apparently it's the 3rd highest rated game on the entirety of Steam.
Wow.
Right?
Okay, let me look this up.
Third highest rated. So if you just go to like search and then just like sort by rating, I think it comes up, right? Like you just search no tags and then you go sort by user reviews. It is the 3rd highest rated game. Yeah. So it has 9,000 overwhelmingly positives or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I haven't played it myself, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've seen some reviews, especially when it came out. And I've heard nothing but incredible things. Really good little experience.
So that could have been an entire like a 2-hour, 3-hour stream, right? Like if you play it quickly, it can go be like it's like an hour. All right. If you play it slowly, it could be like 2 hours, 3 hours. But that could have been a whole stream.
Yeah.
But instead, I sat down and I did it as an offline recording.
Right.
And it was really relaxing and chill, right?
Lovely.
But then there's another game called The Toilet Chronicles, which, by the way, I want to point out, I played this before Jacksepticeye made a video on it, okay? I recorded it like 2.5 weeks ago before Jacksepticeye even touched it. So I just want to clarify, I didn't find it from him. I found it because it got recommended to me alongside the hentai games on Steam.
Take that. Yes.
So, but that was hilarious, right? That was amazing. Could have been a great like 2.5 hour stream. I did it offline, right? I'm doing all these offline recordings right now because as weird as this sounds, I am so much funnier. Like I'm not being distracted by chat. No offense, chat. Like if I'm there to play a game and make it funny content for a YouTube video, it is just so much better when I do it offline.
You can just you literally you're one-tracked mind in I'm playing this and I'm just gonna be funny and you can really pay attention to everything that's happening on screen, so you can bounce off of it and riff off of things. Whereas, it's obviously, we can obviously all do it very easily on stream, but it's going to be a bit more difficult. There's going to be, raids, alerts, bits, all subs and stuff
You're
coming
distracted
through.
most of the time. You're looking at chat, you're looking at the alerts. Yeah.
It's why I find it really hard to do collabs live at the moment, because I find when you're doing collabs live, and I'm guilty of this as well, is that it's very hard because you don't always sync up. Because like sometimes you're like trying to talk to the person, but right as you're talking to them, you can't see like they've gotten like 5 subs and they're like muted you and they're talking like to someone else. And then there's this big like a big delay of awkward audio where no one's replying to you and you're kind of like, ugh, you know what I mean?
I also find with collabs as well that when you do collab with someone, this may just be me, but my chat interaction goes down because they also see that I'm focused on this other person and the gameplay. And it just feels like they're watching. And to me, you're always looking across, like, as you said, the Ludwig thing, you're always looking across like there's nothing new here, mate. It just feels like they know that you're distracted so that they're not the center of attention at that point.
Yeah. And I find that really, really difficult, right? So like I'm planning a bunch of collabs. Like I want to do like Spy Party and I want to do these other things.
Spy Party's
great. But I'm stuck at this point where I'm like, I want to ask like all these different people and I'm like lining up specific games to ask people about. But I'm at this point where like I haven't spoken to anyone, even including you two, because I'm like, I kind of want to do it offline.
Yeah.
But it's like when you ask a streamer to do something offline, especially if they don't have like an actual established YouTube channel, it's a big time commitment and ask, right? And like it's like technically they could do a video as well, right? But they would much rather do it as a stream, get all the subs and stuff like that. But then on my end, I'm like, I'm specifically doing this for a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And if I do an online collab, I just know the content will be, without a doubt, worse.
Yes.
Not because anyone else is worse, but because you're ending up talking to your chat. Both of us get distracted. Everything's happening, you know? And so like I was talking to EO, and EO was like, dude, let's you and I do some offline stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's absolutely do it. Because she's got a big YouTube now where she's working on. But I don't know. I just find it super interesting lately. I've been having to like look at this, and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do all week on stream?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do this week? Because all the games that people are interested in just came out. I've already recorded and passed to the editor.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point as well, for the fact that I'm thinking that this is the perfect time for me to focus more on YouTube. Always I should be focusing more on obviously evergreen content. But because there is this kind of like, you know, downturn in, you know, viewers and games as well that are coming out, why not focus that time when there is this down period to be like, this is where I should be growing my presence outside of Twitch so that I can focus them back on Twitch. And I think that's what I'm going to be doing after this, is maybe writing up a little thing of like, what do I want my channel to be? Do I just start a different channel for commentary? You know, so this is the time for me to do something. And it's nice to know that, yeah, that's the right kind of avenue for me at the moment.
This is a good little transition to what we spoke about at the start of the podcast of like our plans for the next 6 months as well. Good little segue. But yeah, like I think LJ, at the very least, I think the one thing you could pitch to people, as long as like they somewhat regularly do this, but you know, it's like even if they don't have, even if they record it and to not put on YouTube, they can at least make TikToks or YouTube Shorts out of the recording from their side of the things. So I think that's the one good thing that anybody can do. Because I know for me, even though my main YouTube channel is shifting to a more Yu-Gi-Oh focus, I've still got a YouTube channel that's it's only to export all my VODs to, and then I just use it, and then all my shorts are now purely going over there. So I've taken all my shorts off of the main channel. And they're only going on this other channel, and I can also, you know, put this an offline recorded collab on that channel as well, and then show it and hype it up to people. But then also, use it for TikTok and YouTube short content, which is the main thing that I think I'd get the most value out of that for me personally, because you know, since my main channel is not going to have much of a variety gaming focus anymore. But I agree. I like the idea. I've done, like, I think one offline collab, you know, before. I've done a couple before, and there's just so much more natural energy to come from it. You're all vibing off together, and it's really good. However, I will say though, LJ, when we did Fall Guys that night, it was actually, we did quite well. Like, we both very much communicated like, oh, I'll be back in a second.
But remember, neither of us were trying to turn that into a video.
No, exactly right.
That's why that's fine, is because if one of us disappears, we just turn and talk to our chat, right? You know. But like, if the goal is to create YouTube long-term content off something, right? Like say we all decide that we want to play Void Train, which Void Train is this like new game that's on Epic right now, kind of like imagine Raft, but instead you're a scientist who's figured out how to open up like a door to the void, and you are literally on like a train, and it starts off as like just the main part of the train, and you go off into the void, and you tether yourself to it and dive off and have to go get like wood and stuff like that, and then like pull yourself back in through like this weird space of floating islands and things, and then build more of the train out, right?
Okay.
And it looks like Raft, but on train tracks through a void, and eventually you pull up back into your original station, and you can like completely rebuild your train from scratch and see how it goes. Stuff looks really cool. But again, I've wanted to play that offline because I don't know whether or not it would work as a live stream, right? Because you can get untethered, right? And what if I'm untethered and I'm like, grab me. But Reapz is like, hey, Bootyman69, thanks so much for the 100 bits and the fart sound, you know? And that's not me insulting Reapz. That's just like how streams are, right? Like, I could do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and there's so many games like that I want to do. But so my goal, to answer your question, Nick, is that my entire movement forward is kind of what I have as my pinned tweet right now. Health, happiness, family, life balance, right? And to do that, it means making a more sustainable streaming schedule for my current life. And more importantly, I need to be creating a lot more content over on my YouTube gaming channel. And honestly, I'm really, really happy with how it's going on the YouTube gaming channel, because I started I've uploaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've uploaded 7 videos. So I've uploaded 7 weeks in a row now. And the first 2 weeks were really slow because it was obviously a very dead channel. It was brand new practically. We hadn't uploaded in 7 months. And I'd only uploaded like 2, 3 videos before that. But since then, in the last 30 days, we've gotten 2,700 views and about 230, 250 hours of watch time, which is fucking sick,
That's awesome.
right? Because the goal is to get 4,000 hours of watch time in a year, not because I want monetization to make money off it, but because if I get monetization, YouTube is more willing to share the content because they can run ads on it and make money off me, right? And so like it's going really, really well. My last video about Minecraft, where I did Minecraft Twitch chat controlled, everyone's like, oh, everyone's gonna be like, oh, what do you mean it's doing really well? Because it's only 264 views in 2 days or 3 days. But the reason that's so exciting for me is because most of that has come from YouTube browse.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, my CTR in that was like 7-8%, which is pretty normal for a gaming channel. And then it tanked overnight to like 3.6%. And I was like, fuck, what happened? It actually hit browse and was being shared to brand new people who are outside of my community. And I was like, yes, thank God.
Yeah.
I run daily polls over on that channel as well, which is doing great. They get like 1,000 votes on. So yeah, my entire moving forward goal is for health and life balance and stuff like that, which means streams will be at different times now where I'm healthier and I'm going to focus a lot more on YouTube. And by that, I mean, essentially I go on Steam now and anytime I see a game that I think would be a fun, like hour to 90 minutes recording, I add it to my wish list. And then every Thursday I go look at my wish list and go, what do I feel like recording? And I just record a 60 to 90 minute video and then I have it there, right?
Yeah.
Like either I'll edit it or I'll pass it off to the editor. And it's just better. It's so much healthier.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think that's kind of what I've got at the moment because I think like most people who are falling into the trap, especially if you're a small-time streamer or starting off in streaming, they feel that the more hours that you stream, obviously, the more people are going to watch you. And that's, true to a degree. But honestly, you're kind of like treading water because it's more like an endurance test rather than actually gaining ground. And I feel that now is a good time for me before it picks up again, because Twitch will pick up in terms of viewership and everything towards the end of the year. So why not now when there are these lull periods is to, maybe do only 3 streams a week. That's what I'm thinking in the back of my head. Focus more on YouTube and then go back to 4 times a week when Twitch is picked back up and really, utilize the as I was saying, highs and lows of all the different content creation platforms. So it's interesting to note that because as we originally said, my plan obviously for the next 6 months is to find income outside of Twitch that's still in the realm of like gaming or, hosting, presenting, something that's kind of like media based and creative. That's always been my goal, and definitely focus more on YouTube as I have not been focusing as much on YouTube as I should be. So my next 6 months, so we'll say to the end of the year, is making that transition to making more YouTube content, like clickable YouTube content that can actually grow the channel, and finding avenues outside of Twitch that can help me grow my skills within content creation and set me up for the future if there's ever these lulls, because there's always going to be lulls. So yeah, that's kind of my plan.
Yeah. Nice. For me, that's like happening as well. A few sort of like opportunities have kind of dropped on my lap, and I'm basically taking them and considering how well a lot of this like Yu-Gi-Oh content is going, and how much, even though it's like a niche sort of market, it's definitely very easy to break into from the YouTube side of things. So as mentioned, my main YouTube channel is now shifting towards like a overall Yu-Gi-Oh focus. Got a lot of good plans for that as well. So it's not just going to be sort of like a range of Master Duel content, but like unboxings for stuff. I'm packing, new sets every time they come out. And I do think that like it'll work really well. It's also what I notice is, and it doesn't happen for like other stuff, it's not as good. And we've talked about this, but specifically for the Yu-Gi-Oh crowd, almost every like of the Yu-Gi tubers also stream, and mainly on Twitch. And a lot of their regular content that they put out is just like really good little highlight bits from their stream. And they do very well because that's what the Yu-Gi-Oh community likes to see. They like to see these little fun bits or these cool bits from like their streams. And so for anything else, you guys can agree that's a terrible thing, just like editing a highlight from a stream and putting it out on YouTube. But for the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things, it does work well. But so that
it's like speedrunners as well. Speedrunners do it really well. Yeah. Like I think there are some industries where it's kind of perfect.
Yeah. So that's the long-term plan, and I'm thinking, and I'm really excited and confident. There's obviously a lot more details to it, but I'm really excited to sort of go focus on that. And I've got some help with that channel as well. We've got some cool ideas, and I haven't forgotten about the tech channel. It's just I'm trying with the opportunities that have come up. I'm just trying to get this going first, and once that's kind of on a bit of a schedule, then then it'll free up more time for me to record stuff for the tech channel, and then also get help with editing that as well. So I've got some really cool long-term plans set up that I'm really happy and excited about. And overall, streams are still going great. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh streams, like week over week, are doing really well. Been really enjoying God of War too. Been playing that because it was my first playthrough. But I'm making sure the most important thing for me is that I don't purely become a Yu-Gi-Oh streamer either. Like I'm still making sure that I keep putting in a bit of that variety, and playing games that I think will be good to watch. Not like just completely just playing whatever I want, whatever I feel like. Actually having a little bit of intent of what I'm playing, but making sure that there's still some variety there. But no, overall the long term is really going to be YouTube. That's what it comes down to. The fact just getting the views can help pay some bills because from YouTube ad monetization. Like we spoke about earlier with this climate and things becoming more expensive, people not willing to spend as much money. So like when all it takes is just to them watch the videos, that's going to be the most viable.
I will say if that's your goal, is a little bit of extra cash coming in, the tech channel will get like $25 of CPM, whereas gaming will get like $7.
Yeah, I know. So like I say, I haven't disregarded your advice. I haven't disregarded your advice, but
I'm just saying, man. Like Stream Scheme gets like a $28 CPM. So like, whereas I know for a fact that the other gamers I know who are monetized get like a literal $6 to $8 CPM. Yeah. I'm like earning like 3 times from videos that are just whatever. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you really, I know. I have a good. I need to have a quick chat with you at some point, like off recording and off stream, because I wanted to sort of ask you a few questions about some stuff. But yeah, I don't trust me. I haven't forgot about the tech channel. That is still going to be something I'm dead set on. But once I've got some help with like editing for the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, so I won't have to really record much offline, and a lot of it will come from stream anyway. So that will kind of be mostly self-sufficient for the most part, which will free up time to work on the tech channel. But I'm going. Nice. I like it.
Nice.
Can I start? Can I try a new segment out before we do Q&A?
Please.
I'd like to try a new segment out called Eljay's Game Recommendation of the Week.
Okay.
Where I'm gonna tell you guys a game that I've played this week, and I recommend it, and why I recommend it. Because I'm gonna throw it out there. I've been playing and picking up a lot more indie titles and playing them, as I said, for the new YouTube channel and stuff like that. And A Short Hike was really fun, but I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. A game that I would recommend to almost everyone, Toilet Chronicles. I mentioned it earlier. It is funny in a way that is actually like funny, right? Like I have a problem with a lot of games that are marked as funny on Steam. Mm-hmm. You click them and you play them, and like their idea of funny is like a bird that stutters and is a bit awkward and cringy, right? Whereas it's like that's not funny unless you're on Tumblr in 2005, right? And it's like Toilet Chronicles is actually funny. It has a cool concept that's interesting. It has a lot of different ways to end, a lot of different choices to make.
Okay.
And the humor actually left me like proper laughing out loud while I played it, right?
I saw a bunch of people streaming it. What actually is it? Like,
I don't want to tell you, to be honest. Okay. I actually think you should just pick it up. It's like a puzzle game.
I may play this tomorrow.
Yeah,
I may do.
Yeah, you should. Honestly,
puzzles are my weakness. Like, my brain is not big.
It's not that kind of puzzle. It's kind of like a time loop puzzle. Okay. So it's like you don't necessarily need to be smart. You just have to be consistently like testing stuff.
Thank God. Okay.
But okay, hear me out, right? So I want to attach to this. I got to tell you guys a fail before Q&A. All right. It'll be a quick fail. So I have been doing test recordings for weeks now for the offline recordings because I wanted to make sure like I had good recordings and it sounded good and it was as highest quality offline as it was when I stream. And one of the things that I know you can do that I've learned is what I do now is when I want to record offline and I wanted to record a game, rather than have my cam in a little box like you do with a stream, instead, what I do is I hide all my cam and stuff. I've made a new profile on OBS, so I just duplicated it and called it recording instead of streaming. And then I changed my canvas. So rather than my canvas being 1920 by 1080p, it is now 3840 by 1080p.
4K.
So it is two 19. It's like, so no, so it's not 4K. So it's technically, it's two 1080p 16:9 right next to each other.
Okay, right.
So,
sorry,
so
the
it's
canvas.
really
Right,
long. Yeah. So, but it's only 1080 pixels low, right? So it's a really long image, right? The 16:9 on the left side is the game. The 16:9 on the right side is my full camera, okay? And then you need to set your bitrate to like 32,000, right? Which is fine for recording. That's nothing for recording. You can do that. And you get full high quality res, right? You drop that footage into Premiere, put it on a 1920 by 1080p timeline, layer it on top of itself, and just reposition it. And you have the full cam and you have the full game. And you can zoom in on your cam and have full quality, or you can get rid of it and have the full game. And it is literally perfect because you don't have to sync up any like thing, or you don't have to have extra plugins, anything like that. So fucking easy, right? Like it is like, if you want to do offline recordings and you want to have your game and stuff, 110% do it this way, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because I know sometimes people just record their camera as a separate thing and then they record the gameplay as a separate thing, but it's so much more processing power.
Like the source record plugin for OBS.
Is shit.
Oh, is
it? It's so bad, dude. It doesn't work with half of the NVIDIA codecs. So it doesn't work with NVENC New, and it's glitchy with normal NVENC. And then it barely it's just terrible. Don't use it, right? Like Streamlabs source record, really fucking cool, but doesn't work in the way like you want, right? Like, but the problem is if you use like Elgato Game Capture. So Iona would use Elgato Game Capture to record her camera, and then she'd use OBS to record her game, and then she'd sync them up in post, which sucks donkey balls, right? So instead, you're just having OBS, you capture your game, you capture your cam, you get both full high-res images. It's already synced in full audio, right? And then you're just layering it on top of each other.
And just shift the parameter.
Yeah, you just move it slightly. And so it works so well. Just before you record every time, make sure that OBS hasn't defaulted back to your old settings, because Toilet Chronicles is probably one of my favorite games the last 6 months. My bitrate got reset to 6,000. So 6,000 bitrate, not great for a 3840 wide image, and so it's a little bit rough. But we're gonna try edit it anyway.
Okay.
But
why not just why not just download like an OBS like portable version and have that as like your recording OBS?
Well, why do I need to? I can just click the new profile. It only reset because I didn't hit save properly when I finished up last time. That's all. Like it's a whole new
Imagine
profile.
if you forget and you go live on that profile.
It's very hard to not notice how wide it is. Don't worry. No, it's literally so simple and so easy once you do it once. It's just I was fiddling with stuff and testing things, and so I didn't go back and check to fix it afterwards. Right. But it's also, if you didn't know, what most of the big YouTubers do. And that's how they have both clean on both of them. And the reason I learned this was because I was talking to an editor who edits for a very big YouTuber. And I said, hey, it must be annoying syncing up their camera. And he goes, oh no, they don't do that. They just open OBS in 3840 and have it on one side, have it on the other side.
I'm stealing that.
It's really smart. It's really smart. Scoop.
So Toilet Chronicles, and if you're gonna do offline recordings and you want your gameplay and everything synced, 3840 in a brand new profile wide. And make sure you set your bitrate to at least 32,000, because that's what you need for that many pixels.
Okay, this is great for me. See, I'm learning something. I'm going to write this down.
Right, off topic, at least 32K bitrate.
It's 32,000.
The rule of thumb is for every pixel, you should have you should times your full pixel, right? So if it's 3840 by 1080p, you times that out to its full number, and then whatever that full number is, you times that by I think 0.077. And then whatever that number is what you should set your bitrate to. So I think when you do like 3840, you have to check me on this, people listening. 3840 by 1080p comes out with this massive number. And then if you divide that by, I think like 0.0077, it comes out to roughly 30,000 to 32,000, which is what your bitrate should be.
Cool. Well, you've done all the work for me, so thank you, Eljay. Thank you, Eljay.
Right. Well done. Thank you. Also, Eljay, I'm linking you to a Steam page. It's a game, and Reapz, you might like this as well. It's called The Sexy Brutale or Brutale, depending on how you like to pronounce it.
I will not click this. I refuse to click this. If I click this, I will get only recommended fucking hentai, and I refuse to click it.
It's not. Then it's a time loop puzzle mystery game. Ooh. That is a really cool little indie game.
I'm not falling for it.
No. I'm being
It
genuinely
says
serious.
sexy.
It says
sexy.
I know.
in there.
I know it has sexy in the title, but that's literally just the name of the fucking location in the game.
I've got this in my library already. What the hell? Okay, I don't even know.
Is it porn?
It was in
It's definitely porn if it's
2017. It was
It's not
released.
porn.
If it's already in Reapz' library, so it's porn.
Shit. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I will literally. I'll post your fucking screenshot from like the start of the game. All right.
Don't post porn. Oh, he's posting porn again. Anyway,
Love
Nick,
shall we move
you
on
have
to
any-
Q&As?
do you have any questions, Nick?
We
We've only got time for
We
two,
have
but
some
yeah.
great questions, and we're going to start with one from Hamo Time, who says, "I also thought of a question for you guys. Outside of gaming, content, and streaming, what topic do you geek out on? Particularly if someone brings it up on stream. For me, it's anything to do with space. Love that. And if anyone starts a convo about it with me, I love them instantly."
Aw, on space in general, or are we talking about like there's space between me and the phone?
He means like social distancing.
Yeah, I was
He's
going to
been really
say,
big on it last
social-
week.
yeah.
1.5 minutes, love that space. For me, I don't know. Like, I think I geek out a lot on. I think we talked about this briefly with Eljay as well. I really like film. Like, we talked about this amazing YouTube channel, which is pretty much defunct at the moment. But it's like every frame a picture or something, something like that. And it's basically video essays about some amazing movies, and it kind of deconstructs them, tells them how they use different filming techniques and space to kind of get what they want across. And I really geek out on that. I love the trivia of movies as well. Like, I remember back in the day, I used to go onto IMDb, go into all my favorite movies, click on trivia, and just read that shit for hours. I was fascinated. So definitely, if you want to make me geek out, bring up some movies, some classic movies, some horror movies, things like that. I always geek out on.
I remember Reapz and I once, I don't know why it was or when it was. It wasn't on stream. I think it was like before or maybe after a podcast. Nick, you were doing something. So it was just me and Reapz sitting here and we just talked for like 30 minutes about movies.
Yeah.
Just like about movies. It was probably one of my favorite conversations I've ever had, to be honest, because like I have a problem, right? Is that I think all of us are maybe in the same generation, but when I was in high school, gaming wasn't mainstream and cool yet, right? So if you played Xbox or you played games, Steam wasn't really big yet. Steam came out like a year or so, or like after, whatever. But like, so it wasn't cool. So you couldn't talk about it. If you talked about it, people would shit on you. And that goes even triple for anime. Like anime, people were like, this is so fucking lame, right? Like, and so I didn't talk about all the things I loved, right? And then in university, it was kind of similar vibe where people thought like doing certain things was lame and stuff like that. And it got to the point where I had a few toxic people in my life where anytime I would talk about something I liked, they would just shit on it like aggressively, right? So now I never talk about the things that I love, especially on stream, right? Like one of the things I've noticed on stream is that I can't give critical feedback without getting shit on, but I also can't give positive feedback about something because people will then shit on that, right? And it's like I get it, we're all allowed to be critical, but it's like people clearly don't understand the difference between me going, oh yeah, Stray, I felt the gameplay didn't evolve and I was really let down, between them being like, hey, I'm gonna pick out something you fucking love and I'm just going to aggressively shit on it purely because I know you love it. Yeah. Right? Yep. And so I never talk about what I love, right? But I'm trying to be more open about talking about things I enjoy. Okay. So on a daytime stream last week, someone brought up anime and what anime I was watching. And so I started talking anime with a few people in my chat. Literally 5 minutes after we started talking about anime, I lost 30 active viewers.
It really is. That's content creation in a nutshell, my friend. Anything you show passion for, they're like, well, I don't like it, so I'm just gonna not listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like you'll be like, oh yeah, no, yeah, Breath of the Wild is probably one of my favorite games. I really, really enjoy it. And they'll just for the next like 3 months, anytime Breath of the Wild comes up or anytime you critique something they enjoy, they'll bring up Breath of the Wild to specifically shit on it because they're like, hey, just want to point out, it's like, okay, well, I play games every day for a living. I'm allowed to be critical of some of them, right? Without my own things, Yeah. So I don't know. So my big thing for me is I actually nowadays I come across as quite negative and critical because I'm very hesitant to talk about all the things I love. Because the moment I talk about something I love, it gets aggressively shit on. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to bring this up anymore, right? You know,
it's kind of like when you play the games that you actually love, you don't do it on stream because they'll do exactly the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I was listening to all that as well. And anime for me is the same. Like anime, like you get me talking about anime, it's like let's go. I giggle when you said you lost like 30 average viewers. Like everyone's like, anime. Pff. I think it's like
literally it was so quick. My chat was so fast and active. We were just doing a chatting section. It was like popping off. Someone asked me a question about anime. I start answering it. Like my chat just fucking died in a second. It was like in a second. And then I looked at my average viewers 5 minutes later. It had just gone. And if you look at my graph, it's great. My graph is like slowly building, slowly building, slowly building. Boom, boom. I was like,
Hunter x Hunter, like just. Oh no.
It wasn't even Hunter x Hunter or like some weird shit. It was like I was just talking about like the current season, and like people were like, "Oh, did you watch X? Did you watch Y?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did watch that. It was really, really good." You know. And it's funny, right? Because right before we'd spent like 30 minutes talking about like TV shows that are out right now and like discussing stuff like that, which everyone's fine with sitting through, right? Because it's fucking mainstream TV. But then anime, everyone's like, "I'm out." But I have a new rule of thumb.
Okay.
When it comes to the fact that I get a daytime streams now, I'm now being a lot more flippant, okay? And here's my rule of thumb, right? If I think of a joke that I think is funny, I say the joke. Because I used to, on a lot of my nighttime streams, feel anxious if I said a joke that I thought would go over people's heads, right? But I have to remember and remind myself all the time, if I make a reference, I make a joke that goes over someone's head, or I do anything at all that I personally think is funny, then that is good, because the people who understand that or enjoy that are the key demographic that I'm supposed to be making content for. Right? Whereas I think over the last like year and a half, I've like slowly warped who I am in a lot of my nighttime stream, not because of my audience or anything like that, but because of my own anxieties into making content a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, then I'm no longer having my key demographic really like responding. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas before, I would just do whatever I wanted, make whatever jokes I wanted. It'd be fun and stuff like that. And I'd get chatters like Lockies and Jimino, who are my key demographic. They're my age. They kind of get the jokes. You know,
great.
I do this. I go, ducka, 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 and they go, you know, and it's like, but anyone else is like, huh?
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's a good rule of thumb, as you said, because when you do Twitch chat, in terms of just chatting segments, you have to be broad. In terms of if you get too specific about anything, even a subgenre of TV, people will just turn off because it doesn't relate to them. But if you go, what's your favorite childhood TV show? That's like so broad that everyone's got something to say. But it's like, what's your favorite specific, anime? Then they're like, well, I don't watch anime, can't contribute to this. I'm going to go elsewhere for a bit. Yeah, dead on.
It's why yesterday I ranked animals I could beat in a fight rather than ranked soft drink.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do rankings for soft drink that matched both American and Australian viewers.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, unless I have all the soft drink with me that I've ordered from the US, instead I'm going to fucking do this animal one or other stuff that they'd relate to.
Yep.
Which it works so much better to do it that way. And that's to answer my question of what I geek out on.
Yeah.
I do geek out on things that I enjoy. I think they said not gaming and pop culture and stuff like that, but cinema, documentaries, all those things. One of the big rules of thumb is if you don't want me to send you about 50,000 words, never ask me about cameras.
Oh yeah.
Like legitimately.
You saved my life when you sent me this stuff, because I went from if you didn't know, I went from webcams to DSLR for streaming, and your advice was spot on, so loved it.
Dude, you don't even, you got a small
Claire holding
like,
you back
okay,
from the keyboard, like just
legitimately, yes. Like, okay, once we were at a party and someone asked me a question about a camera, and Claire like was like, no, we are not opening this can of worms right now. Like, she's like, we are at a party. We're not doing
What
this.
was the
like,
question?
Okay, so
what did they ask you?
they were asking me about some depth of field and some lens recommendations and stuff like that, and why their images were like grainy and things. And they're like, is it my sensor? And I think like one of my biggest pet peeves is two things. The modern iPhone has ruined the film industry for an entire generation, because the majority of people coming into making content, they think that blurs are done digitally, and they think that it's all about how big your sensor is, right? When in reality, it's how much light you've got. It's all about light, and it's all about having a good lens. You know what I mean? And like, it's like you can take any shitty camera, and if you pump enough light properly used with a decent lens, you'll make it look fucking beautiful,
glass,
right?
Yeah.
Like I traveled the world and was paid for 8.5 years to do film professionally. Like traveled the world on a camera that cost $2,000 and some lenses that I got from an ex-war photographer for about $500, right? Like when I focused with some of the lenses I used, you could hear the sand from Afghanistan would turn in it. Like I'm not joking at all.
Crazy.
Right? And I traveled the world doing that. And I have mates who spent like $25,000 on Red cameras and they get like one job a year.
Yeah.
Right. It's all because like just a matter of like what you do. But anyway, essentially the moral story about how I geek out about cameras is the fact that the other day a writer for Stream Scheme messaged me and said, hey man, I'm doing an updated article on how to go from a webcam to a mirrorless. And I just wanted some feedback and some advice, maybe some recommendations. And I sent him 30,000 words at the end of it. Fully, like I wrote it all from scratch. I had 6 different setups he could use to recommend people. I had like 5 different lighting setups he should be showing. I had articles about like what the difference between DSLR and mirrorless is because he kept using them interchangeabally and they are not the same.
No, one's sensor,
right?
yeah.
And like so much at the end of it. And he was like, holy fuck. Like he was like, I okay, this is a lot to take in, but I appreciate it. Okay.
I guarantee
pretty
he's
much
going to
me-
post everything and say, I wrote that.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
Dude, okay, so a little bit peel back the curtain for Stream Scheme is that we have a lot of writers, but a lot of them are very private people. And so sometimes like they'll write something and throw my name on it because they don't want for people to think like they can reach out to them and stuff like that, which is a big thing. You find an article and stuff. So like sometimes people message me and go, oh, Eljay, I read your article on X. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. But in the reality, it's like half of them I don't do, right? Unless it's a video. A lot of the time they'll take a video and turn it into an article. In that case, I wrote the script.
Gotcha.
But it's very funny, right? So like, there's like, it's like 50,000 words. The poor guy got fucking sent, poor bugger.
Oh, man.
And he had to read through it and learn the difference between. And he's like, so what brands do you recommend? And I'm sitting there like, Sony, any day of the week. Sony's the fucking best, you know. And if Joa listens to this, who's a person from Stream Scheme Discord, he's gonna be like, oh, fucking, he's always talking about Sony again. There's gonna be,
This Sony fanboy, yeah.
because everyone always says, oh, go Panasonic, Panasonic.
Yeah.
Suck my dick. Sony's low light destroys you every day of the week. And we don't have green skin tones anymore. That was one issue with the A7S, all right?
Sony's
Anyway,
low
sorry.
light is very good. And then there's me, the one person that's like, yes, let's talk more. Let's talk more about cameras and lighting. Please, let's do it.
But Nick, if you had one topic to geek out on, what is it? Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously, but we know that's your bread and butter.
I was gonna say because like I sympathize with LJ where it's like I played Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid and then throughout like sort of late primary school and then throughout high school, kind of that like the love for it became dormant because I didn't really know anyone that like was interested in it. And then it was only until a few years ago that the spark was reignited in a blazing fire, and now here I am, making Yu-Gi-Oh content. But I was the same. Like I was throughout primary school to high school, I was the loser of my friendship group. So anything I liked would get shit on constantly.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. Hasn't changed.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Saying hot take.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Dude, I'm sorry. It's just, I heard the,
No.
the joke
Hey,
went
do not
through my
apologize.
head and I had to.
Do not apologize.
It's a daytime stream for LJ.
Do not apologize
The
at
thing
all.
is, the way
That
I
was
look
funny.
at it is right. As Australians, you roast your friends.
Yes.
And when if you're not friends with someone, you're probably not roasting them, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
No, I'd be upset if you didn't. I was waiting for it too.
All right.
But yeah, basically, yeah. So anything I liked would get shit on. It's like, oh, you like that thing that sucks, and so I definitely struggled to talk about the things I liked, right? And then I got to a point like I graduated from high school and I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like I'm gonna like just be unapologetically myself. And that was kind of my turning point for myself. Where I was like, I did not care. I didn't care if someone would try to shit on what I like. I'd be like, screw you. I like it. Here's the reason why I like it. Fuck what you say. And so that's definitely sort of like helped me a lot. And that's why like anyone can get me going. Like anything like on tech, which involves like cameras or computers or anything like that. Tech will get me going 100%. Yeah, so I'm on that same vein with LJ, but obviously Yu-Gi-Oh is my bread and butter. But like, you get me going with Yu-Gi-Oh, just going off the chain. But anime is a huge one too.
I go through big waves of being like unapologetically with my confidence of who I am, right? Like I go through like waves where I'll be like, dude, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna smash this shit. And then waves of just like, oh, dude, I'm just gonna like not say anything or do anything. I don't want to upset anyone, right? But like, especially in the industry that I've chosen to go into with Stream Scheme, you know what I mean? Like, I've talked about the drama that comes from streaming a lot, and it's like I'm so nervous that I'm gonna upset someone and someone's gonna like have a fucking hissy fit at me for saying something wrong or doing something. And it's just like, because it's every 3 days something happens, right? Where someone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like I'm getting more at this point back into that concept of just being unapologetically like, look, as long as I'm not calling someone out or saying you're a piece of shit or like attacking someone, as long as I'm doing things with the right intent, fuck it, right? Yeah. Like, you know, I'm not gonna be having a drama about it. And I think the reason I'm back into that wave really comes from prioritizing my own health and IRL and stuff like that first. So it's interesting. Do we have another question?
We do, and it relates as well to what we were talking about. From the lovely Jess. Jess has left a lovely comment for us. I'm late to the video this week. How dare you, Jess? But it's okay. But what are your favorite off-stream games other than I want to keep them to myself or not my niche? What are some other reasons you personally prefer to play them without an audience?
Great.
Destiny 2.
Destiny,
you told us I
that.
love Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is one of my fucking like favorite games. Mainly because I love to play with mates. Another one is Raft. I love Raft. I've played Raft more offline with like my wife or with a group of friends, and it's always fun to start again with a brand new group of people.
I really want to play. Last time I played was like a year and a half ago, so I'm really excited.
The amount of updates in the last year and a half are so good. You can paint your entire raft now. There are so many little decorations.
I'm down. Let's play.
And they've added so much to the story as well, right? Like so many new things. They've fixed it all up, balanced things differently. Like me and my mates are playing offline, and we've built this. We started with this one normal square raft, right? And then for some reason, one of them was like, well, why don't we just? I was in charge of building, right? And then one of them's in charge of fishing. Another one's in charge of like cutting trees down. Like we all have like a little roles we just fall into. And like suddenly it's like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm putting these here. I'm gonna make like nets around the entire outside. And then one of them goes to me, what if we just made wings? And I'm like, yeah, but that's a lot of foundations. More in foundations, we need more engines. And they're like, yeah, but we could totally just pull off wings. And everyone's like, yeah, wing it, boy. Get the wings, boy. Put the wings on. And I'm like, fine, I'll put wings on. And next thing you know, our raft is so fucking wide. It is like, we are like, like legitimately, like an island will spawn in the distance. Yeah. And we will have the entire length of the map to turn and avoid it. And we still won't be able to. It is like so hard to move. If we hit an island, we're screwed, right? We have to like steer and like drift into the island so that we can drive away from it. Like it is so fucking wide, but it's so good because they've also made it now in Raft where as you progress the story, different types of islands will start spawning. So like you start off and you get only little islands, small islands, stuff like that. Oh, you've done the first part of the story. Bigger ones will spawn now with more stuff on them. You know what I mean? And it really makes the world feel so much more like dynamic and like it's moving and changing and like you're actually traveling the whole planet. And the new story is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like the gameplay for the new story is so good. I won't spoil anything. But the first part they added to this new one, it took us like 3 hours to like do all of it. It was so big, and then the climax to it was we were losing it.
You were climaxing.
We were so good. I was climaxing, and when you're underwater, that's not good because it comes back at you.
Should we play? Should the three of us play Raft at some point?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Yeah,
I'm up for it.
I'm down for that. The question is, if you want it for a video, I say we do it offline. If you want it for streaming, we don't.
I'll do it offline for sure.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Let's do it offline.
Nick, did you want to go next in terms of what is your sacred games? What are your sacred?
There is I don't get to do as much gaming offline as I would like. But there is the game that I eventually want to be playing offline is I want to get into Final Fantasy 14. Like,
you would like to have no life.
Yeah, okay. I would like to have no life. No, like, because Kirsty and I, like, we're so much anime that we're binging right now, and eventually we'll kind of be balancing it out where it's like we both want to jump into Final Fantasy 14. We can both sort of like spend a bit of our date night just playing that together, and then sort of winding down with anime later. So that's kind of like what I eventually want to play offline is Final Fantasy 14. But I think apart from that, I can't like. There's not really anything else like off the top of my head that I can think of that I sort of really play like offline. I used to play like Destiny 1, which I really enjoyed. Like I like having a game that I can kind of always go back to, which is why I'm looking into like wanting to get into Final Fantasy 14. But I think there's also
it's Ozpost.
Go.
Oh, go.
Yeah.
But also I want to eventually play more like Deep Rock Galactic.
I've heard of that game. Yeah.
Very, very fun game. You'd be a space dwarves fighting aliens and mining. It's great. It is a great time. That would actually be a nice little game to do, like, I think, off stream as well. And we'll just grab a fourth person. Be amazing. And there's also the game. It's been in like early access for a while now, and I kickstarted it quite a few years ago. It's a game called Re-Legend.
Okay.
And the basic premise for this game is what if you took Stardew, right, and then added Pokemon to it,
okay,
and then added a bit more of like RPG elements onto your actual playable character.
Oh, sick!
And that's the game. It's actually it's a really cool game that Kirsty and I both want to play as well. So because and if you watch the trailer for it, it looks awesome. It's like you basically you get to farm. Then you get to go and tame creatures. Those creatures can then evolve as well.
Okay.
So you can evolve them. Then you go out and fight bosses. There's a story. You can go mining and you can build like armor and weapons for yourself. It's a really, really cool game that I do want to spend more time with as well. So that'd probably be another one, I'd say.
Nice. Very cool. Briefly for me, I've said it many times, Overwatch. It's just one of those games that, I want to just have fun with, and I play along and I just shoot random stuff, and it's great. Other games would be Civilization, because I know that that's not really something that I can play online. On streaming, because people get bored of it or, whatever. And basically everyone will have a say on how I should do it. It's like, go for this, diplomacy, go for, wonders, whatever type of thing. So I played that, and mainly games that are heavy into kind of speaking, like say Disco Elysium. I know that I can never stream that because it's all about the voiceover. And I couldn't say anything because it would just ruin the whole experience for everyone. Yeah. So yeah, those type of games are the ones that I kind of hold dear. The ones where I can interact and get scares, they're the ones that I play. So yeah.
How did you handle the quarry? This is my hardest part, right? So I'm trying to turn the quarry into videos. Yeah. And I just can't, because the cutscenes in that game are so fucking long
Yep.
and there are so many.
Yep.
Like, I know I talked about this and joked about this a few weeks ago, and I was kind of more memeing it up, but like I'm re-watching it all as I try to figure out if I can turn it into videos. I've come to the conclusion I don't think I can.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
But but like I was watching, and a cutscene set starts when they're all in like this like prison area. And fucking literally, I am in cutscenes for 35 to 40 minutes. And the only thing I do is catch a cup that falls off a sink. And like, I joked about that, but it actually legitimately was that long. Like, how do you stream that? Like, cause I throw a line in every now and then.
That's
right?
basically me, is that I really go for the aesthetical, like what they're doing. And like, I talk about previous parts and like, why don't I just leave and hit them over the head? You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Like, that's basically what I do. But sometimes they're so invested.
Yeah. When I'm forced into like things like that, where it's like you're sitting there watching the cutscene, I'll throw the occasional like funny line in. But then I open up like my meme folders when the cutscene's coming up, and I'm like my thumb is ready to like whenever something happens, and I'm like, oh yeah, this will be a good moment, and I basically so just to enhance the cutscene, and I'll just like throw random shit in there just to make it amusing. So that I have that at the very least, but yeah, it's very hard when you're just sitting there just watching cutscenes and doing nothing else.
I would like to know also, I know that I've said this many, many times to the people listening and watching, but what are good games for you to stream? Because I know for us, like, you may actually thrive on those games that we think are very hard to stream, because there are like big Civ streamers, there's, all these people, but what do you play online that we normally don't? Because maybe we're going for low-hanging fruit. I don't know.
Do you guys like city builders?
I do.
Or like village builders, or like village management kind of thing, where it's like, have some more babies and then put the babies at the quarry and like make, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, right? Yeah.
Frostpunk was I played Frostpunk.
Sort of Frostpunkish, yeah. I got a really good one that I want to recommend to you guys. Okay. It's called Stacklands, okay? So Stacklands... I think EO may have talked about it because it may have been brought to Switch or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But Stacklands, my wife put me onto it.
I see it.
But it's a card game that is actually a city builder. So like you start with a villager and you get gold and then you buy packs which will give you more resources and like you can build quarries and stuff and everything is a card. And so you have to stack your cards. You can only have so many cards and it's like super, super interesting, really addictive. I played it for like 8 hours in a row and then had to uninstall it because I realized I was fucked, right? Like if I kept this game. But like I didn't expect to like it and it's just so, so addictive. And it's such an interesting take on the kind of like management, village, city builder kind of thing. And you eventually do end up with this big fuck off like village with like houses and stuff. And I gotta have food for everyone. So I'm gonna put my houses over here and my campfires here and the city hall here. It's super weird.
I play very few mobile games, but the games that I do play that I'm addicted to are by Kairosoft. And they're those like sim type games where it's like make your own game dev tycoon. And it's just like all this, like, I love those games. Don't know. Sorry to cut you off, Nick. Yeah.
No, that's right. Like, it's funny. I used to, years ago, before I had my own Xbox, my neighbor had an Xbox 360 and I would go over and we would play Halo together. Yeah. And a lot of the time I'd be like, hey, let's go into Forge mode. And they'd be like, okay. And then I would just sit there just like building a base all the time. They'd be like, do you want to just play multiplayer or do something else? Like, nah, I'm having a great time.
Like, sit over there, my friend.
Yeah, I just love building shit, doing stuff like that. There's have you played Timberborn? I haven't played it.
I'm waiting for the full release of Timberborn because from what I've looked at of Timberborn, it's only got like you can play it forever. But it's only got a certain amount of like research and tech and blah, 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 blah built into it. And last time I played a game that was kind of like a city builder, city manager, that wasn't full release, I never picked it back up once I got to the end of it. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to go through the rigmarole of grinding up the start again because the start didn't get an update. It was just the later tech trees. So I was like, I like the looks of Timberborn. I'm gonna let it just sit. Once it fully releases, I'll pick it up and I'll play it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fair. Also, I just remembered Pokemon Snap was another one I only play offline. I just love vibing out playing Pokemon Snap on my own. It is so enjoyable.
I'm assuming you mean the new one.
Yeah, the new Pokemon Snap. On like I'll just pull out my Switch. It's great.
I liked the new one, but I got very angry at it. That caused me to write a 5-page video review about the new Pokemon Snap that was pretty much scathing.
Wow.
Right? Because I played through that game in full over and over and over, played a lot, did everything, took a lot of photos, stuff like that. And then I wanted to look up like if I was missing, I wanted to find one particular Pokemon. I wanted to find if this one Pokemon was in it, right? And when I looked it up, I was like, hold on. There's like another like 80 fucking Pokemon in this game that I've never seen. And I've got like almost 100 hours. I've done every course multiple times, everything like that. I got this massive scathing review, right? Because I look up, hey, where can I find X Pokemon? Okay. And I go, hold on. Why are there all these Pokemon that I've never seen? And I look it up. The puzzles in that game are so fucking frustratingly a roundabout. Yeah. And there's like no information about how to find them. You want to find Lugia? Here's how you find Lugia. Run through the course 6 times till you unlock a special route. Go the special route. And then from the start of the special route, make sure that this one specific Pokemon follows you the entire route all the way to the bottom. And then make it go into a special cave. When it does, you'll be able to scan it. You go into the cave, knock a statue over. It's huge. It's this massive thing. And the game never fucking tells you any hints, right? Original Pokemon Snap. You get 3 items, a flute, apples, and gas bombs, right? Flute wakes Pokemon up, apples make them go to a certain place, gas knocks them out. In this one, it's like you get 3 items, a flute, apples, and glow orbs. And they all do fucking different things depending on what you're supposed to do. It frustrates me. It's like, oh, that Pokemon's asleep over there. I'm going to play the flute, wake it up. Why isn't it waking up? Google. Oh, to wake that one up, you have to throw a glow ball on it. Yeah. Why? It's a fucking flute. And then it's like, oh, this Pokemon's asleep. I'll throw a glow ball on it because I just learned that's what you do. Yeah. No, you got to flute that one.
You got to flute.
It's like the way it's like you have to try everything that you have on your disposal to see what will work.
And that shouldn't be how it is, right? Like old school Pokemon Snap was like, here's how this one works. Therefore, that's what you use.
Yeah.
And then the new one, it's like, we're just going to go with zero consistency. I love it. It's beautiful. I played hours upon hours of it, but I am so frustrated. I spent hours in that game and never knew about Lugia or any of these other Pokemon because the fucking routes and stuff are too much.
Yeah.
God
Does
damn.
not sound fun.
But I'll at least I know I'll have to Google shit when I get towards the end.
You absolutely
I
should.
had way too much fun. Like you basically, Reapz, have you played the new Pokemon Snap at all?
I have. I played it for a few hours. Yeah.
I love the photo editing stuff. I had way too much fun just making stupid bullshit in that. Like I ended up taking a photo of the arse of a Bidoof, and then on his little nub tail, I just put sunglasses and then put like a little fedora on top. It was just, I would do dumb shit like that. It was great. And people like, when I did one stream of it, it was like really fun. But yeah, it's definitely, but now I like enjoy it on my own. It's a great time.
Awesome. All right, boys, we probably are dropping frames at the moment, and we will say that next week we're going to do obviously more of the Q&As that we haven't caught up with, so do not fear. But if you've got questions that you may want to be answered, you may want to go down below and do a little thing and press enter and all that.
And let us know what topics you might like us to cover as
yes,
well.
Please. You know us. Jess has been a part of our staff now for a few
Unpaid
months.
executive producer.
But boys, any last questions before we head off for the day?
I don't think so. We went a little bit long, but I'm back now. I'm excited for this podcast again because I used to be super tired because I'd do the podcast and then I'd be dead tired Tuesday nights to stream. But now that I'm not doing Tuesday nights, it feels like I can do the podcast and I can still do other stuff this afternoon. And I'm not worried if we run late or if you guys want to chat after. I feel so much better, dude.
I'm telling you, man. That's why I love doing the day streams. But anyway, I digress. Nick, any final words?
Let us know what games you might like to see three of us play too. What random shenanigans
great
we get up to
idea.
as
If
well.
you'd like to see us play like games offline and we can do it as like a little
Void
special
train.
something, let us know. But for now, we say thank you so much for joining us. Please like, comment, all that good stuff to help us get on the algorithm. And we're dropping frames. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.